What's going on, Not Move Nation? Welcome to the Not Move podcast. Today's April 10th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll be breaking down some MLB games with you guys today. Haven't seen you guys in a while. Hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for joining today. First thing that I usually talk about, man, it feels like the first day of school. You know what I mean? This is my first baseball breakdown show this season. This is like my third year doing it, so I'm sure I'll be a little bit rusty, but I got some good information for you guys today. I usually started my shows around like 5 p.m. Eastern time, just so we could have some starting lineup confirmations. But my life has just changed a little bit from a couple years ago, so I have to do the show a little bit earlier today. We do have a game that starts here in about 19 minutes, Pittsburgh at Chicago. Let's go ahead and see what's going on with that game before we break down the other ones. For weather, I used to use a website called swishanalytics.com. Not sure what happened to that. For this game, let's see. So it's at Chicago. RotoWire.com, ROTO wire.com is they're saying that there's about 10 9-mile-per-hour winds blowing inward, kind of from left field towards first base a little bit. So that could maybe prevent a home run ball from going over the wall. Usually wind isn't that significant of a factor unless you see it around 10 miles per hour, which it is at that 10 mile per hour range right now. Precipitation, I'm not really seeing anything in regards to rain, so it looks like this one should be good to go. I think I only saw a couple on the slate today that may get delayed due to rain. And while I'm at it, let me bring up a poll for you guys. Here we go. Who wins this game, chat? Pirates or Cubs? Hopefully you guys can see that on whatever platform you're watching this on. I just want to see, because this is new to me. Really cool what they're doing here, JB. Really cool that you got a poll. If you guys want to vote, feel free to do so. Yeah, Pittsburgh, 1-game losing streak at Chicago Cubs, 2-game win streak. Pittsburgh is 1-2 against the run line as a road underdog, and Chicago Cubs are 3-3 against the run line as a home favorite. Now, all in all, run line trends, MLB. Let's just go see who's better against the run line regardless. When I checked this morning, Chicago was favored. They are 5-7 against the run line this season. Pittsburgh's 7-5 against the run line. So Pittsburgh is technically better against the run line, but what about after a loss? Pittsburgh's 3-1 on the run line after a loss. Chicago Cubs after a win, they're 1-4 against the run line after a win. So, Pittsburgh does have two advantages against that run line than Chicago does with those three search queries. And the projected starting pitchers, I'm looking at rotowire.com. I use that source for a lot of things, but looks like Majinski is going to be starting there for Pittsburgh, and Imanaga for Chicago today. Majinski is a right-handed pitcher, and Pittsburgh has a 2-0 record this season when he pitches. Pittsburgh won both of those games by exactly 1 run. His average pitch count is 85, which is pretty solid. I like to look at that average pitch count because That bullpen, let's say a starting pitcher only pitches, an average of 40 pitches or so per game. The bullpen, you would think, would be a little bit more of a significant factor, right? But 85 is pretty solid. I see that he has a much worse batting against left. He's worse against left-handed hitters this season in regards to batting average. So if I were looking for a player to get a hit or something like that, home run, I'd be looking at maybe a left-handed hitter for Chicago. Considering he is worse, much worse this season. Now, since 2024, he's about even. What about last season? He was actually worse against righties. So, walks per 9 innings, 3.0 walks per 9 innings, which is average. All right. So I'm not necessarily too worried about Mlodzinski walking a lot of guys here. Although Chicago is good at drawing walks per game, they do rank 7th best this season in drawing walks per game. If I remember correctly, with last season, they were pretty good at that too. And then he hasn't allowed a home run this season, Mlodzinski. I see 3 guys for Chicago that are batting 259 or better. PCA batting against right-handed pitchers. Mlodzinski is a right-handed pitcher, so I see Chicago has 3 guys. Let's see if they're starting today. Horner, he's batting leadoff. Kelly, who's batting 7th, and PCA, who's batting 6th. So those 3 guys are the best in regards to batting average, the best against right-handed pitching. And then we have Imanaga, the left-handed pitcher here for Chicago today. Chicago's lost both games that he's pitched in this season. One game they lost by exactly 1 run. The other game they lost by exactly 3 runs. Average pitch count's been 87. So I think, the bullpen, if both of these guys last, around that 85, 87 range, the bullpens, the matchup's pretty equal with the bullpens. Pittsburgh ranks 18th in bullpen ERA, so slightly below average. Chicago ranks 20th, slightly below average. A little bit worse than Pittsburgh. I'm seeing that Imanaga is worse against right-handed hitters batting average this season, and much worse against right-handed hitters hitting home runs in 2025. But as we talked about, that wind is coming in from left field. So I was also looking at a source for home runs. This necessarily wouldn't be like the game that statistically seems optimal for home runs to be hit. For a few reasons. One of the reasons is when I was looking at baseballsavant.com, baseball SAVANT, they kind of have their own algorithm on what ballparks are good to hit home runs in and what ballparks are not good. This one was not at the top of the list. It wasn't in the top 10, so I really didn't look at too many home run things for this one. Not just that, but like I mentioned earlier, Mlodzinski, the starting pitcher for Pittsburgh today, hasn't allowed a home run this season. And then Imanaga, his home runs per 9 inning is 0.9. So that's average. That's almost elite. It is a small sample size, right? These guys have only pitched, a couple games this season apiece. So it's a small sample size. Overall, I don't see like a huge home run threat in this game, a huge walks threat. But I do think Chicago probably has an advantage in regards to like stolen bases, right? They rank tied for 8th best in the MLB in stolen bases per game, and Pittsburgh is slightly below average at allowing stolen bases to opposing teams. They rank tied for 19th in that category. Pittsburgh, they're the worst at stealing bases this season per game. They rank 30th in that category. Chicago is decent at limiting those stolen bases per game. But here's the thing about stolen bases, because that number can be a little bit misleading sometimes. What I like to do is go to this baseballsavant.com and look for each pitcher on how they do against opposing teams stealing bases. And I filtered this by the start year of 2025. So I'm looking at last year's data as well as this year's data. Okay, when it comes to these stolen bases, I'm looking at this net bases prevented charts. Basically, all that's doing is telling me who's good, which pitchers are good at limiting stolen bases to opposing teams, which ones are bad. Majinski is good at limiting stolen bases to opposing teams. He's one of the best. He ranks 22nd on this list. And then let's go see where Imanaga ranks. But once again, I'm not overly concerned about Pittsburgh stealing bases today. But he ranks right there with Majinski. He ranks 21st in that category. But overall, yeah, I give Chicago a slight advantage there. Runs per game. Chicago does average more runs per game this season than Pittsburgh does. Pittsburgh also allows more runs per game than Chicago does. Both of these teams strike out about the same. They're both about average in team strikeouts per game. The thing about Pittsburgh is I got 4 players listed here for them. Let me make sure that they're starting. Cruz, O'Hearn, Mangum. Mangum's not in today. And then Reynolds. Those 3 guys are batting 267 or better off of left-handed pitching, which once again, that's what Imanaga's pitching with is his left hand. So overall, with guys that are batting 250 or better against the opposing pitcher's pitching hand, it's pretty even here. Except what I will say is Cruz is batting really good off of left-handed pitching. He's batting 538 off left-handed pitching. But if I were to have to lean towards one way here, this is my first time actually locking in on baseball this season. I'm worried about Chicago a little bit here. I'd still have to lean towards Chicago, probably on the money line here. You guys like the Pirates? I'm seeing in the poll there, you guys like the Pirates today. I can see the Pirates pulling off the upset here, but I'm gonna have to lean towards Chicago Cubs winning this one. Run line. Yeah, I mean, I'd still have to lean towards Chicago on the run line too. I'm always worried about taking, it's just kind of like a personal thing. I'm always worried about taking an underdog on the first game of the day and the last game of the day. Specifically the last game of the day. Because a lot of people are chasing at that time of day. Not saying it doesn't happen. It does, where all underdogs win the first game of the day or the last game of the day. But and then if you guys were interested in maybe a home run prop this game, here's something else that I like to look at baseballsavant.com. I will look to see a couple of things here. Okay, so let's go to I know the game's starting here soon. So let's go look at Imanaga's pitch arsenal real quick. Baseballsavant.com. 43% of the time he's throwing a four-seam fastball. So that's a good amount of, that's a good percentage of his pitches are four-seam fastballs. And then the next most used pitch that he's had this year is that splitter, that split, which he's throwing 34% of the time. So add those two together, there's a 77% chance, just based on what he's thrown this year, that that batters are going to be looking at a four seam or a split. All right. So I'll go over here and look at four seam fastball. I'll filter this by four seam fastball. And we're looking for Pittsburgh Pirates this season that have hit good off the four seam fastball. O'Hearn, 1.067 slugging percentage off of the four seam, which once again is Imanaga's favorite pitch. Hearn has home run off that specific pitch 3 times this season. So if you do like O'Hearn for a home run today for Pittsburgh, that would be somebody that I would first consider. Once again, though, not necessarily my favorite game for home runs. Watch them just light it up. Okay. And then Reynolds. How many times has he home runned off of that four seam this year? 2 times out of 20 plate appearances. O'Hearn has the same amount of plate appearances as Reynolds, but he's seen 5 extra four-seam fastball pitches. All right, and then it's Cruz. Cruz has homered off that once out of 16 plate appearances, 68 pitches. So he's actually seen the same amount of pitches as Reynolds. So right now I'm leaning towards more O'Hearn, possibly getting that. But we have to keep in mind that Imanaga was much worse against right-handed hitters hitting home runs in the year 2025. So I'm thinking maybe, Reynolds is going to be my pick here for a home run hitter if somebody were to do it. But we can also go check that splitter too. Maybe one of these guys are really good. No. So it doesn't really look like they have a lot of history this season, if any, off of that splitter. Let me go check in 2025. Cruz was the best off of that, but he still wasn't outstanding. In fact, it doesn't even look like Cruz hit a home run last year when a pitcher pitched a splitter against him. So, yeah, I think it's going to be that four-seam fastball that has the biggest likelihood of getting taken out of the ballpark. And, yeah, my pick on that would be Reynolds, since he's a switch hitter. And Imanaga, like I said, yeah, he's since 2025 much worse against right-handed hitters hitting home runs. I am a little bit worried about that wind coming in though from left field. All right, and then let's go look at Majinski. I know the game's probably about starting here. So I mentioned those 3 guys: Horner, Kelly, and PCA. Horner, Kelly, and PCA. So we want to go look at Majinski's pitch arsenal. Same thing with him. 31% of the time four-seamer, 27% of the time splitter, 19% sinker, 18% curve. So he has a little bit more of a diverse pitch arsenal. A little bit you don't know exactly what's coming your way as much as Imanaga, right? So let's go look at Cubs this season. And who's good off that four seam fastball out of these players that are have a solid batting average against right-handed pitching. Horner, Kelly, PCA is what I'm looking at. So Horner slugging percentage 455 this season. He has the best slugging percentage this season out of those three guys, but he hasn't had a home run off of that specific pitch. What about PCA? PCA does have a home run off of that four seam, one home run this season. And then Kelly does not. So right now I'm thinking PCA, And then we can go back to Majinski just to see if he has, if he's like extremely vulnerable to allowing home runs to left-handed hitters or right-handed hitters. Looks like about even throughout his career. So no huge weakness that I see with him pitching to lefties or righties. And then let's go to his next most used pitch, the split. The split finger here. This season, PCA, he's only seen 13 pitches of that. Has he had a home run off of any of those? No. Okay, let me go back and look at 2025 because we don't have a huge sample size there. So off the split finger in 2025, it looks like Kelly was still the best. So that'd probably be the guy that I would look for. Carson Kelly maybe here, just because he really has that home run this season off of what was it, the fastball. But I would say just my favorite one, and this one's gonna be Reynolds. But yeah, once again, not necessarily loving this game for home runs. But yeah, let's move on to the next game. Unless you guys have any questions about this one. All right. Hey, what's up, Blessed Up P? Henry Davis this year against four seam fastballs. My bad. Let me go look real quick. I'm not seeing that Henry Davis is starting today. Looks like Joey Bart is getting that start there. But let's, you asked the question about Henry Davis, so let's go look. 2026. Four seam fastball. Slugging at Henry Davis is slugging 286, which isn't good. And he does not have a home run off of that specific. I'm a little confused on what I'm looking at because it gives me 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different pitches that he's seen with the four seam fastball, but it doesn't say that he's had a home run off of that. Like I said, I'm a little bit rusty since this is my first show this season, but from my understanding, he doesn't have a home run off of the four seam fastball this season. But his slugging percentage is not good off of the four seam fastball either this season. So let's say that I am looking at the wrong information. The slugging percentage typically gives you a decent, idea on how good or bad a player is at getting a home run. And, so slugging percentage, I'm sure you already know, but in case you guys don't, it measures a batter's power by calculating the average total bases gained per at bat. So, batting average is going to calculate anything, whether you hit a single, double, triple, home run, the same way. But yeah, slugging percentage is typically a little bit better at gauging a player's power. Blessed Up P likes Cubs first 5 money line. Shout out Blessed Up P. All right, let's go to the next game here. Miami at Detroit. Who do you guys like in this one? I got a poll out there for you guys. And let's talk about a little bit more of this weather here. I just wanted to break that game down real quick because that game has just started, right? I also got to see on the flip side how Sam Burns is doing. Golf is something new that I started just paying attention to. I'm rooting for Sam Burns to win this tournament. All right, so he's got -5. Okay, so let's talk about Miami at Detroit. Unless you guys want to talk about a different game. My plan is to break down all these games, unless you guys want me to cover a specific one. You're biased, so you'll say Tigers. Right on. And the Tigers, they're on a 5-game losing streak, so they got to turn it around at some point, right? Miami, they're on a 2-game win streak at Detroit, 5-game losing streak. This game, it seems like it may be good to target a home run hitter in this game. According to one source that I looked at, which is baseballsavant.com. Right, so I just want you guys to be able to follow along with me. So I'll go to my search engine and type in Park Factors MLB. It takes me to baseballsavant.com. Up at the top, it'll say rolling years. So I'm just doing one rolling year. I don't know if that takes into account last season. I'm hoping that it just gives me just kind of like this season's information. And then I filter it by home run. And then you can filter it for righties and lefties. So according to this source, it says that the Tigers Stadium is the third best place for home run hitters that are right-handed hitters and the second best place for left-handed hitters to hit home runs. Let's maybe filter this by rolling years too. Let's give it 2 rolling years. Still, second best ballpark for right-handed hitters. Left-handed hitters, the 10th best. So I think this could possibly be a good ballpark to target home run hitters in. It depends on some other factors, right? Are either of these pitchers vulnerable to allowing the home run ball? We have Paddock, the projected starting pitcher for Miami today, versus Montero, the projected starting pitcher for Detroit. Both of them are right-handed pitchers. Before we get into home runs, let's talk about just a couple of other things here. Miami, they are 1-2 against that run line this season. They have a 1-2 record against the run line as a road underdog. Detroit is 2-1 against the run line as a home favorite. And then let's also go look just to see, without that, we're not going to look at if they're a road underdog or a home favorite. What about just all together? Who's better against the run line this season? Miami or Detroit? Miami's 5-8. Detroit's 4-9 against the run line, so it's pretty close. And then after a win, Miami's 4-3 on the run line. After a loss, Detroit is the worst team in baseball, 1-7 against the run line after a loss. So overall, I think I'd give Miami the advantage there. But let's talk about Paddock first, the projected starting pitcher for Miami today. He is a right-handed pitcher. Miami has a 1-1 record this season when he pitches. They are on the road today, and Miami did win their only game in which Paddock pitched on the road this season. They won that game by exactly 1 run. When Paddock pitched at home, they lost by 5 runs. And I'm seeing that he's much worse against right-handed hitters in regards to batting average this season and slightly worse against them since 2024. I'm concerned about him walking batters. His bases per his BB per 9 innings is 4.2, which anything between 3.6 and 4.5 is considered below average. So yeah, when I see the bases walks per 9 innings mark at 3.6 or higher, that's when I'm starting to get a little bit concerned about him potentially walking batters. And how good is Detroit at drawing those walks? They rank tied for 8th best this season. So I do think Detroit could get some guys, on base just by drawing walks today. I think there's a good possibility of that. And then, which brings up my next question, how big of a likelihood is it that Detroit steals bases when they do get on base? Well, they're not really an elite base stealing team. I think last season they were like the worst, but this season they're tied for 25th in stolen bases per game. But Miami allows the most stolen bases per game this season. So I also want to look at that source where we look to see Paddock, if he's good or bad at allowing teams to steal bases against him, and he's actually above average. He has a 4 net bases prevented mark, basically telling me that he's not he's pretty good actually at holding base runners on and not stealing bases against him. So I do think, once again, that there are going to be some opportunities today for Detroit to get on base by drawing some walks. I just don't, necessarily love Detroit to steal a whole bunch of bases today, according to this data that I'm looking at. And then Paddock, his home runs per 9 inning this season is 2.1. And from my understanding, and you can double check me on that, is a 2.1 home run per 9 inning mark good, bad, average? I'm seeing that it's bad. So I do think that there is some opportunity here today for Detroit players or a player to hit a home run today, considering his home runs per 9 inning is at 2.1. Seems like it's at a favorable ballpark to do so. Did we look at that weather for this game? I'm seeing that the wind is blowing out, which will improve home run chances, is what it's saying here on rotowire.com. I want to also look at a different source for weather. I'm seeing that the wind is blowing anywhere from 5 to 8 miles per hour to straightaway center field. So I think that could help carry a ball or two here. It does say here on rotowire.com that they may see a little bit of rain, but it looks clear at first pitch and at game time. So let's come back to the home run hitters. I do want to definitely look at those Detroit Tiger ones. Let's look at Montero a little bit. The projected starting pitcher here for Detroit. By the way, there are 4 players that I have down on my notes that are batting .257 or better against right-handed pitching, which is the hand that Paddock's pitching with today, the right hand. Keith, Baez, Dingler, and Meadows. The question is, are those guys starting? A lot of these lineups haven't came out yet, but Keith is projected to start. He's in the projected starting lineup. Baez is not. I just want to put my notes here, not projected to start. Dingler is, and Meadows is not. So I think if Baez or Meadows ends up playing today, that does give Detroit a little bit extra benefit. So Montero, he's the right-handed pitcher here for Detroit today. He's projected to be at least. Detroit, they lost the only game that he's pitched in this season, which was in Detroit, like it is here today. Detroit lost that game by exactly 2 runs. And I didn't mention Paddock's. Pitch count. Last season, I had all this stuff ready to go. Just don't have the time for it this season, but we're going to do it on the fly. Paddock, 84 is his average pitch count. Montero's didn't seem as high. Montero's average pitch count is 63. So I do think that Detroit's bullpen, if Montero only is to go 63 pitches today, but he could have been pulled because he was having a bad game too, So there's a lot of different factors in this, but what did I say? I think he only pitched 1 game this season, Montero. Yeah, 1 game so far. So I would kind of be interested to see what his pitch count looked like last year too, and I can filter that. Let me just look at the most recent games that he pitched last season. 76. Let's see. Yeah, so the most recent games from last season, 76, 69, 76, 31, 53, 76. So I do think that there's a good chance that Detroit has to go to their bullpen a little bit earlier today than Miami does, based on the average pitch counts. And, Detroit, they rank 14th in bullpen ERA, so right about average. Miami ranks 8th best. So I do think that's a disadvantage today for Miami. I'm also seeing that Montero is much worse this season against right-handed hitters' batting average, but is about average against both lefties and righties since 2024. I didn't see a clear advantage for lefties or righties to hit home runs off of him. His walks per 9 innings is the same as Paddock's, and Montero has not allowed a home run this season. I do see 5 players for Miami that have a batting average of .269 or better against right-handed pitching. Let me see if they're projected to start. Edwards, 452. Hicks, 375. Casey, 333. Ramirez, 286. And Lopez, All those guys, 269. All of those guys batting 269 or better against right-handed pitching, and all of them are projected to start today. So you have 5 players for Miami that are batting 269 or better against righties, and only 2 projected starters for Detroit that are batting 286 or better against right-handed pitching. So I think, Miami does have an advantage today if those lineups were to stay the same. And Miami's actually doing good this season at scoring runs per game. They rank 5th best in that category. Detroit ranks 15th. Detroit has also allowed a few more runs per game this season than Miami. Detroit ranks 17th in opponent runs per game. Miami ranks 15th. Stolen bases per game. Miami ranks 2nd best in that category. So I want to go back to see if Montero is good or bad at preventing runners from advancing on him. And he's actually pretty good. Detroit's average at limiting those stolen bases per game, they rank 14th in that category. So, but it looks like Montero is one of the better pitchers in the MLB at limiting stolen bases. So normally I would look at that and be like, oh man, Miami might steal some bases today, but I think they may have a little bit more trouble today. But, we also got to take into account the bullpen may be coming in a little bit earlier for Detroit today than Miami. Let me see if you guys have any questions. Hicks for the Marlins scares you a little bit. I'm looking at Carpenter or Hicks for a home run. Hicks for the Marlins scares you a little bit. Yeah, let's go take a look at that here in just a second. Team strikeouts per game. Miami ranks 3rd best, so they don't strike out a lot, which can make for a long day for a pitcher. And then Detroit ranks 20th in that category. Walks per game. I don't think that either team is going to. Looks like both pitchers are pretty good at limiting walks. Okay, so I don't think either team has like a significant advantage in drawing walks here today. But as of right now, just looking at this, I feel like I need like Baez or Meadows to play for Detroit. I'm gonna have to lean with Miami on this one, but let's look at the home runs. I do think Miami can get some stolen bases today. I think Detroit might have to rely on that bullpen a little bit quicker than Miami today, which Detroit's bullpen is a little bit worse in regards to bullpen ERA. Miami's offense is just better. I like their batting average against right-handed pitching more so than Detroit's batting average against right-handed pitching. I like the fact that Miami's on a 2-game win streak. Detroit's on a 5-game losing streak. But, as we talked about at the start, Detroit's got to break that at some point, right? But you said you like Hicks. Let's go look at Montero's pitch arsenal. He hasn't allowed a home run this season. Maybe he allowed a ton last season. Let me see. So, yeah, I'm looking at his game log from last year here on rotowire.com. He had a game where he allowed 2 home runs, another 2-run home run game, a 2-home run game, a 3 home run game. He allowed a couple of 3 home run games. So, doesn't look like he's just a lockdown pitcher when it comes to allowing or not allowing home runs. So, let's go look at his pitch arsenal. This is my favorite part to do, looking at pitch arsenals. That's real in depth, right? Let's It's fun. Montero for the Tigers. He 35% of the time, four-seam fastball. 35% four-seam fastball. 32% of the time is the sinker. So you add those two together, 67% chance based on the pitches, the pitch types that he's pitched this season, that he's going to throw a four-seam or a sinker. So let's go look for Miami Marlins and which ones are good at hitting the four-seam fastball first and foremost. And I'm only going to be looking at those 5 players, right? Edwards, Hicks, Casey, Ramirez, and Lopez, because those guys have the best batting average for Miami this season against right-handed pitching. Now, sometimes you'll get a guy who's batting like just 150, not a good batting average, but when he does get a hold of one, it goes over the wall. That does happen from time to time, but I'm just going to be looking at these guys, okay? Because I feel like if you're going to hit a home run, you got to start by having at least a solid batting average against the hand that pitcher throws with, but that's not always the case. Xavier Edwards has the best batting average this season against right-handed pitching, but he has the best slugging percentage too out of those Miami Marlins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay. So it looks like he's only had 1 home run, Edwards, off that four-seamer. And then it's Casey, who has the second best slugging percentage out of those guys. He also has a home run off of that four-seam. But you were talking specifically about Hicks. He only has a 125 slugging percentage this season off of the four-seam fastball. So I feel like if Hicks is going to do it, it might have to be off of maybe this sinker. Let's go look at we can look at a couple things. We can look at last season, 2025. Let's see if Hicks was really good at slugging against it in 2025. Not really. 444 slugging percentage. And then let's go look at what was his next pitch that he liked. Montero sinker. His second favorite pitch this season, 32% sinker. And Hicks hasn't been good against that either. So I'm a little worried about Hicks at least hitting a home run today. I think if I were to, have to pick one based on like overall slugging percentage against those 2 main pitches, I'd have to probably lean with Xavier Edwards. Does he have any home runs this season? Yeah, he's got a home run this year. So let's see if he gets one today. Not saying that Hicks cannot get one because, like I mentioned, Detroit probably will go to their bullpen a little bit quicker than Miami today. So, and their bullpen is not elite based on their bullpen ERA, which ranks 14th. It's about average. So maybe Hicks can get one in the later stages of the game. But just off of browsing the information that I've looked at, I would say maybe Xavier Edwards. What do you guys think, chat? And then let's go look at Paddock. The two guys I'd be probably interested in here is Keith or Dingler, because those guys have solid batting averages off of right-handed pitchers. So let's go look at Detroit Tigers and how they do against changeups, since that is Paddock's favorite pitch so far this season, the changeup, which he's thrown 28% of the time. I did mention his pitch arsenal is a little bit more diverse. Carpenter, is he starting today for Detroit? He is batting in that 4-hole today for Detroit. Doesn't have a good batting average this season off of right-handed pitching. Also, another factor that I'm not going to really get into today, I'll leave you guys to it, but the history, the batter versus pitcher history. Maybe Hicks, like we were talking about, maybe he doesn't hit well off of righties or specific pitches that Montero throws, but maybe he has a really good history against him. I used to look at, I think, Swish Analytics for that history, but here at rotowire.com, they also have batter versus pitcher history. If you click on a pitcher's name and scroll to the bottom, like Montero, it'll tell me if anybody has any history off of him. Just seems like a few guys have a couple of at-bats against him. What it says here is Hicks has had 2 at-bats against him and 0 home runs, 0 hits. So that is definitely another factor when we talk about home runs, is that history. Typically, I want, a lot of whenever I pick a home run hitter, I want a good ballpark against a pitcher who throws a lot of home run balls, and a batter that's good at hitting off of that specific hand the pitcher's throwing with, that a specific pitch that pitcher likes to throw against, and good history, and maybe some favorable wind. I think if you add all those things together, you're looking at a good home run opportunity. Also, a bad bullpen ERA. In case my home run hitter doesn't get it against that starting pitcher, maybe he'll get it against the bullpen. Keith or Dingler is the question here. So 28% changeup is what we were looking at. Changeup. Dingler, 333 slugging this season off of it. Or Keith. He's not good off of the changeup. Let's go look at the fastball for this season. Dingler, 667. He does have at least 1 home run off the fastball this season. Keith, 467 slugging percentage. Doesn't look like he has a home run off of the fastball. And then what about the cutter, which Paddock throws 15% of the time this season. Keith, a couple of doubles off of it. Dingler has good slugging percentage this season off of that specific pitch. But it's a really small sample size, I kind of want to look at 2025. I think looking at 2025 is going to be a little bit more helpful here for us. So let's go back to that changeup. Dingler, 545 slugging off of the changeup last season, which is Paddock's most used pitch. And then Keith, 338. Let's go back to that 4-seam fastball. Keith, a little bit better than Dingler. Dingler didn't do so hot in regards to slugging percentage last year off that four-seam fastball. But, if I were to pick one between those two, it'd be Dingler. And I'm also seeing, once again, that Paddock is much worse against right-handed hitters' batting average this season. That's just, batting average, though. We can look at home runs allowed since 2024. It's about even. It's about even with the amount of home runs he's allowed to righties and lefties since 2024. And looks like Dingler took the day off yesterday, so today he might be, fresh and ready to play some ball. Looks like he did have one at bat yesterday, but he wasn't in the starting lineup yesterday. So that would be the guy I'd probably look for today. Dingler to hit home run for Detroit, then Edwards for Miami. I got to lean towards Miami. Plus, what was it? Plus 1.5, right? Plus 1.5. Let's move on to the next game here. What's going on in that other game? 0-0. Sounds about right. I know some people like to take overs too, over total runs. I'm always worried about that first game of the day too. I'm taking overs. I mean, I've seen it plenty of times where they have scored a lot of runs in that first game of the day, especially if it's getting played before the other games. Everybody, whenever this game started, was probably making those home run slips and hoping for a high scoring game on a Friday. Start the day off with a bang, and it's just a dud. Okay, so we're going to look at Arizona and Philadelphia. Let me put up the poll here. I also got to close some of these tabs I have up. Sometimes I get a little carried away and don't close the tabs. All right, Diamondbacks at Phillies. There's the poll for you guys. Feel free to vote on who you think's going to win that one. Arizona at Philly. Okay, let me close some of these tabs too. Taro, Edwards, Dingler. Dang, Rory McIlroy, -8. Okay. Arizona, Diamondbacks at Phillies. Philadelphia Phillies. Arizona's on a 2-game win streak. Philadelphia is on a 2-game losing streak. Based on the baseballsavant.com, this seems like a favorable part for right-handed hitters to hit a home run. But maybe that source is wrong, or maybe it's a little skewed. Let's update it and look since 2 rolling years and see what it says. Yeah, I could have sworn last year it was a good ballpark for lefties, and it is. When I filter this by 2 rolling years, it says it was the 3rd best ballpark for left-handed hitters to hit home runs. It just maybe isn't that way this season yet. But yeah, if I remember correctly, this was a good home run park for lefties last year. And that's what it's saying when I make that filter adjustment. What about for righties? I think for righties, it was kind of bad, if I remember correctly. Not the greatest. It was 13th. But this year, it's the 4th best park to hit a home run in for a right-handed hitter. So there's definitely some other sources you guys could probably look at when it comes to this, like home run parks. Good home run parks. fantasypros.com. Looks like they have like a paywall there. Anyways, I'm not gonna look into it too much, and I'm just kind of going off of what I remember from last year. On those home run parks, I'll kind of leave that up to you guys too, but I'll try to find a better source before I get on the air next time. So it kind of just seems like, there could be some home runs to go around in this game. Wind blowing out 8 miles per hour. That could give the ball a little bit of extra carry. That's what I'm seeing here on this weather report. Looks like straightaway center, 6, 7, 8 miles per hour blowing out. Could give the ball a little bit of extra carry. We'll talk about home runs here in a minute. Arizona, like I mentioned, they're on a 2-game win streak. Philadelphia, 2-game losing streak. Arizona's 5-1 against that run line as a road underdog. And Philadelphia is 1-5 this season against the run line as a home favorite. So in that regard, Arizona has a big advantage. And then we want to look at just run line trends in general, right? Philadelphia is 6-6 against the run line this season. Last that I checked, they were favored to win this game. It looks like that's still the case. And then Arizona against the run line is 7-6. Then I'm sure Arizona is going to be better after a win. They're 4-2 against the run line after a win, whereas Philadelphia after a loss is 2-3. So according to all three of those searches, Arizona is better against the run line in all three of those searches that we did. Better against the run line just overall, better against the run line as a road underdog than Philadelphia is as a home favorite, and then Arizona's better on the run line after a win than Philadelphia is after a loss. So let's look at these pitchers here. Soroka. For Arizona. Looks like Arizona won both games that he's pitched in this season. Both games were at home, though. This one's on the road. Last season, too. We can look at last season a little bit here. Last season, whoever he pitched for, looks like he was traded a little bit. He didn't even play for Arizona last year, right? He played for Chicago and Washington. The projected starting pitcher today for Arizona, Soroka. But on the road, teams were 2-2, 2-3, 2-4, 2-5, 2-6, 2-7, 3-7, 3-8, 3-9 when he pitched on the road last season. So, although Arizona's 2-0 when he pitches this season, teams were only 3-9 when he pitched on the road last year. And then Luzardo. Didn't Luzardo, blessed up P, if you're still in the building, didn't Luzardo go on a crazy streak last year where he didn't allow a home run at home in like his first 10, 15 starts or something? I think that was last year. And I can look at it real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And maybe it carried on from the year before that too. But the first 5 games last season, he didn't allow a home run in Philadelphia. And he really just all season long limited home runs, it looks like, in Philadelphia. Pretty good. I guess near the end of the year, he had a little hiccup, but I think he just went on some crazy streak. I do got to look this up. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Maybe it was the Sanchez or something. But Philadelphia, they're 1-1 this season with Luzardo pitching. They did not win the only game that Luzardo pitched on at home. They didn't win the only game that Luzardo pitched at home. They lost to Texas 8-3 earlier this season when Luzardo pitched in Philadelphia. All right. So let's go look at Soroka. And I want to look at his average pitch count. Average pitch count, 90. Which I think is really important for Arizona today, considering they have the 24th ranked bullpen ERA. So it's one of the worst. It's getting near the bottom of the league, their bullpen ERA. So I think it's going to be important for Soroka to have a solid outing today so they don't have to dive into that bullpen. Home runs since 2024, it looks like it's about even to lefties and righties. This season, he hasn't allowed a home run, but he has a much worse batting average against lefties this season. And since 2024, lefties are actually hitting better off of him as well. So just right off the bat, no pun intended, I'm looking for maybe guys that are left-handed hitters to either hit a home run off Soroka or to get a hit. Schwarber, Harper, Stott, Marsh, Crawford. I know Crawford and Marsh both have good batting averages against right-handed pitchers this season. Crawford's batting 345 and Marsh is batting 294. From my understanding, those guys are not necessarily power hitters, so I'd be maybe more so looking for those guys to get like a hit instead of a home run. But something else that we got to look at is Soroka vulnerable to home runs? I mean, he hasn't allowed one this season. What about last season? Let's go see if he allowed a lot last season. He really didn't pitch too deep into games. I mean, he does have some he has 3 games where he threw 2 home runs, allowed 2 home runs. But a lot of the games near the end of the season, he only pitched 1 or 2 innings. So I don't know if he's really vulnerable or not at allowing the home run. It doesn't look like he's great at limiting home runs. Looks like, it's doable to find a home run hitter here. And let's go look at the history while we're at it. Marsh has a home run off of him, and he's a left-handed hitter in 2 plate appearances. Harper has had 10 at-bats. Harper's had 10 at-bats against him, hasn't had a home run against him. Schwarber's had 2 at-bats, hasn't had a home run against him. So just based off that history, Marsh looks like he's the guy. But, let's be realistic here. Is it going to be the Schwarber night or the Harper night? like I said, Harper's had 10 at-bats against him, according to rotowire.com. And he has not had a home run compared to Schwarber, who's only had 2 at-bats. So I think just based on that alone, Schwarber probably has a better opportunity here. But let's also go look at Soroka's pitch arsenal. It was nice last season when I just had all of this stuff readily available. It cut down on your guys' watch time. We were looking at Soroka's pitch arsenal, right? This season, 37% slurve is his favorite go-to pitch. And then it's the four seam at 32%. And then it's the changeup at 12%. So there's a big drop off in usage after the slurve and four seam. So you add those two together, 69% of the time he's throwing a slurve or four seam fastball this season. And let's go filter this. Phillies in 2025. We want to look at the slurve. Doesn't look like too many pitchers throw a slurve. And if they do, the Phillies didn't see a whole lot of it last year. And Harper had 4 plate appearances. Doesn't even look like he hit the slurve last year. Schwarber didn't have a home run, it doesn't look like. So it looks like maybe the four seam might be their best chance to hit one today. Schwarber, 775. He led the team in slugging percentage last season off that four seamer. And then it was Harper at 592. So, yeah, I'm thinking Schwarber would be the guy. If I had to pick between Schwarber and Harper today, I'd have to go with Schwarber. Based on the fact that he has a better slugging percentage last year off the four-seam fastball, and he had a better slugging percentage off the slurve. Also, that history. Harper has had 10 at-bats against this pitcher and hasn't had a home run. Schwarber hasn't either, but he's only seen him twice. But I think, if I think Marsh is somebody that we could, definitely possibly look at here, considering he does have a good batting average against right-handed pitching this season, and he does have a home run off of Soroka. So yeah, I would say Schwarber out of the big names, and then if you wanted to get sneaky with it, Marsh. Then we got Luzardo here. Luzardo. So this guy, man, he can throw some strikeouts, right? I know some of you like those strikeout props. I mean, he threw 7 strikeouts against Texas, 11 against the Rockies 6 days ago. So that makes me wonder, is Arizona a team that strikes out a lot? No, they're not. They rank 4th best in team strikeouts. So far this season, Arizona has been a tough team to strike out. And I think after Lazard, I don't know what Lazardo his over under on strikeouts is, but after striking out a team 11 times, I would think they would put that number pretty high. Just based on that alone, I'd maybe be thinking the under on it. But and I didn't even look at some of these other guys' strikeouts, but I did mention team strikeouts per game. If you guys are into that stuff, okay. So Arizona's tough team to strike out. Philadelphia is about average, by the way. They rank 13th, so a little bit above average in team strikeouts per game. And in case you were interested or thinking about the Soroka strikeout prop. And now we're looking at so his average pitch count in his last 5 games, they're saying here is 99. So it looks like Lazardo, he can get a high pitch count. In fact, the 2 games that he pitched this season, he threw 99 pitches in both of those games, not combined, individual games, 99 pitch count in each game. So he goes deep into games. So Philadelphia's bullpen, I mean, they rank 17th, so just a little bit below average in bullpen ERA. Even if he were to come out, I don't think I'd be extremely concerned. But looks like there's a good chance he pitches deep into this game. And he doesn't look like he's extremely vulnerable to right-handed hitters or left-handed hitters hitting home runs off of him. This season, he does allow a higher batting average to left-handed hitters. So it looks like left-handed hitters are a little bit better off him this season in regards to batting average. But since 2024, righties actually have a better batting average off of him. So just kind of sometimes when I look at these splits, though, what I'll see is that a pitcher is really good at pitching against lefties, but is terrible against righties, or vice versa. So I think that stuff is definitely worth looking into. Also, home versus road splits. Is a pitcher good when they're pitching out on the road or at home? I'm not necessarily concerned about Lazardo walking batters. 0.7 walks per 9 innings. So he's doing good there. Home runs per 9 innings, 1.4 home runs per 9 innings, which is getting kind of questionable. I think there is some home run opportunity here today for these Arizona Diamondbacks. Let's go look to see, his pitch arsenal. There's 2 guys I have on my list here for Arizona, Vargas and Carroll. Carroll's batting .471 off of left-handed pitching this season. That's what Lazardo's pitching today. He's a left-handed pitcher. And Vargas is batting .500. Vargas is batting second. Carroll is not in the lineup. Not in the starting lineup according to rotowire.com. I don't want Carroll to all of a sudden start and you say, well, you said he wasn't going to start. No, I'm looking at the rotowire.com and what they're saying, and I find this source to be very accurate too. I've used it for several years. And if you're following along with me on rotowire.com for the lineups, it'll say confirmed lineups, such as the Pittsburgh and Chicago game, and actually the Arizona and Philadelphia game. They have confirmed lineups on that game, but some of these games says it's expected lineup there at the top, so it's not confirmed yet. So I kind of just want to see history here. I don't know how good or bad Vargas is at hitting home runs. Okay, maybe you like him today. If you do, he's batting 500 off left-handed pitching this season. I'm looking at the history here at the bottom, and I don't see that any of these guys have had a home run off of Luzardo for the Arizona Diamondbacks today. I'm seeing Arenado's had 13 at bats, 0 home runs. Marte, 9 at bats, 0 home runs. So, um, but let's go look at his pitch arsenal. The thing about searching on how players are batting against a specific pitch this year versus last year is maybe like Arenado won't be in the search if I did it for last year. I'd have to go to a different team. But Luzardo, 35% sweeper is what he's pitching this season. 35% sweeper, 25% four-seamer, four-seam fastball. So let's go look at Diamondbacks for this season and how they have been batting against the sweeper. Slugging against the sweeper, I should say. Okay, so that was 2025. I'm going to look at 2026. Even though it's the thing, like I said, I'm looking at 2026, and it just doesn't have necessarily the sample size that I want. Last year it does, but it's excluding Arenado since he didn't play for him last year. But this season, yeah, Vargas batting 1,000 slugging percentage, Moreno 2,000, Arenado 500, Fernandez 500. What about against the four seam? And I'll go back and look for the sweeper. Carroll 1,000, Vargas doesn't look like he has a home run this year though off of it. So it's just really just too small of a sample size. I'll try to remember to go look at Arenado's here in a second. Sweeper. Last season, who did good off the sweeper? Gurriel, Moreno. Are those guys starting today? Moreno is. So Moreno, and then how did Arenado bat against the slug? I should say slug against the sweeper last season. Who did he play for? The Cardinals. Arenado. He didn't do good against the sweeper last year for the Cardinals. Slugging, he did not do good. Arenado did not. What about the four seam fastball? 451. Not super impressive. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how Vargas necessarily bats against, or I don't know his power. But if you like him today, I think that could be an option. Batting in the 2-hole there. Let's go look at. I think that was about it for Diamondback players, huh? Moreno, 667 off of the sweeper. Marte batting 500 last season off the sweeper. It doesn't look like Marte. He had 2 home runs last year off the sweeper. 26 plate appearances. Anyways, I gotta lean with the Phillies in this one. Okay, cool. So chat, you guys like the Phillies in this one too? Yeah, I mean, I know they're on a 2-game win or losing streak. Arizona's on a 2-game win streak. I understand Arizona has all the run line trend advantages that we were talking about. But I really like the batting average for the Phillies today against the hand that Soroka pitches with, compared to the batting average for the Diamondbacks against the hand that Luzardo pitches with. I like the fact that Philadelphia has a better bullpen ERA than Arizona. I didn't get into the stolen bases for this one. Both of these teams are a little bit below average at stealing bases against opposing teams, and both of these teams are actually really good at preventing those stolen bases. Arizona, they don't do a good job at drawing walks this season. Philadelphia is about average. I think Philadelphia winning this game, I like. I mean, run line's always tricky, when you're talking about margin of victory. I like on DK how you can toggle it to, from -1.5 to -1. I think that's pretty cool. I hate whenever I have a team -1.5 and they only end up winning by 1. So sometimes that -1 toggling it and getting that hook off makes a big difference. But I still got to lean with the Phillies on the run line, minus the 1.5. And it looks like you guys think Phillies in this one too. All right. And then we have the Angels at Cincinnati Reds. We still have a lot of games to talk about here. How many have we talked about already? 3. So we're moving pretty slow, but we're moving along. I think after we break this game down a little bit, I'll take a little bit of a break, put on some commercials for you guys, about a 5-minute break, and then we'll get back to it. So, but let's break this game down first. Angels at Reds. Both of these teams are on 2-game losing streaks. The Angels, they're 3-4 against the run line as a road underdog. When I looked this morning, they were an underdog. And Cincinnati's 1-0 on the run line as a home favorite. I did see some potential rain in this game. Let me double check on that. So when I'm looking at rotowire.com, there's 2 games that it has classified for a possible delay or a rainout. And this is one of them, the Angels and Reds. Did I put up the poll? Here, let's put up the poll. Angels and Reds. So this is one of the games that has potential for that rain delay. And then the other one is going to be the Royals game. White Sox at Royals, according to rotowire.com. So what I'm seeing here is that they're saying that there's a chance of thunderstorms may lead to a brief delay. A brief delay. It's not saying that this game is going to get rained out. Just looks like, I mean, it's saying there is a possibility of that, but it's also saying that it looks like it may just get delayed. I'd maybe look at the weather in Cincinnati if you have a second and you want to look at this game, especially if you're playing that run line. I know a lot of books, if not every book. Let's say you took a team -1.5 and it gets called in the 8th inning or so, they may not honor that that play. So, but I mean, I'm looking at this other source too, rotogrinders.com, and I'm seeing rain in the forecast. So I would definitely look at that before I would look at that before I made any plays in that one. Maybe try to find a better source that does a little bit more clear than what I'm talking about here. Okay. According to that baseballsavant.com, this is a good ballpark for left-handed hitters to hit a home run. If I remember correctly, last year it was good too. Let's make the rolling years too. It was 15th last year, or when I included it. Let's just filter this by last year. Sorry, a lot of this is just thinking to myself here. So this year it looks like it's been really good for lefties so far. Last year it was about average. What about for right-handed hitters last year? Hitting home runs. It was the 4th best ballpark last year, according to baseballsavant.com, for right-handed hitters to hit home runs. So maybe you have a better idea than I do about which side. I don't like to play home runs a whole lot, but maybe you have a better idea on which side of the ballpark is better to hit a home run in. Right field or left field. Once again, according to this source, last year right-handed hitters seemed to do good at hitting home runs in Cincinnati. This year, it seems like it's been the left. I know some ballparks have maybe changed their dimensions from last year, like Kansas City. I think they've brought some of their fencing in a little bit. So that stuff's obviously important to keep up with. I don't know if Cincinnati's done the same thing, or if just the few games that they've played in Cincinnati this year, makes it to be a good ballpark for left-handed hitters to hit home runs. So, Kohanowitz is the projected starting pitcher today for the Angels. Jack Kohanowitz, right-handed pitcher. And the Angels, they have a 1-1 record this season when he does pitch. The game that they pitched, that he pitched on the road this season, they lost by a final score of 9-7 against Houston. Let's go look at his average pitch count, 90. Both of these bullpen ERAs are above average, but Cincinnati so far this season has a better bullpen ERA. The Angels ranked 12th in bullpen ERA, which is a great sign for this team, because if I remember correctly from last season, their bullpen was terrible. And so that's good for them. Average pitch count, 90. And then what about his walks per 9 innings this year is a cause for concern. 6.5 walks per 9 innings. Is Cincinnati good at drawing walks? They are above average at drawing walks per game this year. They rank tied for 13th. So I do think that there is definitely some chance for Cincinnati to draw some walks today and potentially steal some bases, because Cincinnati ranks 10th best in the MLB, tied for 10th best in stolen bases per game. The Angels rank 21st in opponent stolen bases per game, so they're below average at allowing that. But I also want to look at Kohanowitz specifically. He's okay. He's okay at limiting those stolen bases against him. He's a little bit above above average. I do think Cincinnati can have some definitely draw some walks today. Stolen bases, I could see him getting a couple, one or two. But I don't think that they have like a real big advantage at stealing some bases. Some just off, just so you guys know, some guys that I do think they might not be pitching today, right? But some guys that I think could allow some stolen bases, or just in general, are like Alcantara. I think he still pitches for Miami. Chris Sale, Framber Valdez, Jeffrey Springs, who pitched yesterday, right? He almost threw that no-hitter against the Yanks. Joey Wentz, if he's still in the league. Jesus Lazardo, who does pitch today. I didn't talk about the fact that he is vulnerable to base stealing. But Philadelphia as a team is second best in the MLB at limiting those stolen bases per game. And Arizona is slightly below average at stolen bases per game. So, but Kohanowitz is pretty good at limiting that. And then I also want to look at Chase Burns. Looks like Chase Burns is a little vulnerable to it. The Angels are not necessarily the most speedy team. They rank 21st in stolen bases per game. Cincinnati has been a little vulnerable to allowing those stolen bases this year. Overall, I do just think that there's probably a better chance for Cincinnati to get some stolen bases today, though, based on that walks factor. I do think that they could have a better chance of getting base runners and stealing some bases. And then we're looking at Kohanowitz. Home runs per 9 innings. Doesn't look like he's allowed a home run this season. He has been more vulnerable to allowing home runs to left-handed hitters this season. Last season. And throughout his career, looks like just a little bit more vulnerable to lefties. So that's probably who I would be looking at if I were interested in a home run prop for Cincinnati, is a left-handed hitter, or a switch hitter that is batting left today, such as Ellie De La Cruz, maybe Benson, Friedel. It's probably some guys that I would maybe look at for home runs. I don't see a whole lot of history that these Cincinnati players have had against off of Kohanowitz. So we wanted to go maybe look at his pitch arsenal. %32 sinker, 28% change, 22% forcing. Okay. Let's go look at that we can do this year and last year. Sinker for Cincinnati Reds. Who's got a good slugging percentage for the Reds off that sinker? Well, last year it was Stewart. Didn't have a whole lot of plate appearances. Stewart, who's batting the 4-hole today. He's a right-handed hitter. And Stewart has a good batting average against right-handed pitching this season too. He's batting .333. So I think there's a good, decent chance that he gets a hole, at least makes contact. And Kohanowitz he's just been a little bit more vulnerable to left-handed hitters batting average since 2024 and those home runs. So I do think that there is a decent chance maybe for Stewart to get a hold of one today, but I'm a little bit more interested maybe in a left-handed hitter. Ellie De La Cruz last year off the sinker, slugging percentage 500. Let's just go ahead and look at this year. Stewart, Stevenson, Benson. I think he is going to be the front runner today for the Cincinnati Reds out of the left-handed hitters, because we're looking at Friedel. I think that's how you pronounce that name, right? Yeah, Friedel, Benson, and Ellie De La Cruz. I just don't know off the top of my head, Friedel's power. He doesn't have a home run this season, so it would be his first home run this year. I don't know how much I, really want to take somebody who hasn't had a home run this season. I don't know. Maybe it's beneficial. I know last season Vladimir Guerrero Jr. went 20 or 30 games or so without hitting a home run, but you knew he was finally going to get one, I think at the start of the season, that's a good time to do, what do they call that? The method where you put something on it and it loses and then you double it. It's called some sort of a method. The martingale system. I think if you don't know what that is, yeah, and you're into this stuff, yeah, I think the martingale system could be beneficial here for guys that you just know are going to hit a home run. Okay. They might not hit one today, might not hit one tomorrow. Heck, maybe even a week from now, they might not hit one. But 2 weeks from now, they're going to get one. A month from now, they're going to get one. Unless they get injured. Okay. Anyways. Yeah, so I mean, Ellie De La Cruz would probably be the guy I'd be looking at today for Cincinnati to maybe go deep, to hit a homer. And then let's go look at Burns a little bit here. I also want to just see if Kohanowitz is like a good strikeout artist. Don't know what his over-under is. But Cincinnati ranks 21st in team strikeouts per game. So they're a little bit below average this season in strikeouts, team strikeouts. So if you like Kohanowitz for some reason, I'm not saying I like it or don't like it. I don't necessarily specialize in strikeout props, but if you like it, I see potential in that today. On the flip side, if you like Burns for strikeouts today, the Angels have struck out more times per game this season than any other team in the league. And I'm pretty sure Chase Burns is capable of throwing some strikeouts. Yeah, I mean, he threw 9 against Texas in his last game, 7 against Pittsburgh in the game before that. So I think that aligns nicely here with Burns going up against, he's good at throwing strikeouts and going up against a team that strikes out the most per game this season. Burns, average pitch count in his last 5 games has been 83. which I'm less concerned about. You know, heck, I mean, maybe he could. His average pitch count could be 50 maybe today or 60, and I'd be less concerned about that considering Cincinnati has the 5th best bullpen ERA in baseball. Where Cincinnati's been bad at this year is their offense. They rank last in runs per game this season. So they're missing that offensive spark so far this year. By the way, the Angels rank 18th in that category. The Angels have allowed more runs per game this season, though, than Cincinnati. The Angels rank 23rd in runs allowed per game. Cincinnati ranks 8th best in that category. So, and then the walks per game. Both of these teams are slightly above average at drawing walks per game. But I think we mentioned, Kohanowitz. We did mention that Kohanowitz has walked a lot of batters this season. Even going into last year, I'm looking at these game logs: 3, 2, 2, 6, 3. So I could definitely see him walking at least 2 batters here today, which can open up, a can of worms for Cincy today. We're looking at Burns. Keep getting sidetracked. Walks per 9 innings, 3.3 walks per 9 innings for Chase Burns so far. I believe for this season, against 19. It could be this season. Maybe it's throughout his entire career. I think it's for this season only, though. Yeah, this has to be for this season only that I'm looking at, because some of these guys have home runs per 9 inning averages of 0.0, like they've never thrown a homer, had a home run against them. So yeah, this is for this season only. But yeah, 3.3 walks per 9 innings. That's average. That's average. So I'm not overly concerned about Chase Burns walking guys today. Maybe that number's skewed, though. Maybe last season he just walked a whole bunch of people, and we can look real quick. In 2025, I mean, there were some games where he, walked guys 2, 3, 4 times, but overall, I do think that there's a bigger likelihood for Kohanowitz to walk guys than Burns today, based on this information that I'm looking at. I really only saw one guy for. Oh, we were looking at maybe home runs, right? Chase Burns, home runs per 9 innings allowed 0.8. I mean, did he allow a lot last year? It may be a good ballpark for home run hitters, but maybe not the best teams to hit home runs. Yeah, he didn't have any games where he allowed multiple home runs last year. Chase Burns. Oh man, where is that coming from? Okay. So yeah, I don't know about home runs for Angels. I mean, they do have obviously Mike Trout, some other guys, Soler, Adele that could hit home runs. I mean, what does Chase Burns like to throw? We can just go look at that real quick and take a station identification break. All right, so Burns. Chase Burns. Like I said, it doesn't seem like he's extremely vulnerable to allowing home runs, but he is throwing the four-seam fastball 57% of the time. So there's a good chance, whenever you're at the plate against Chase Burns, there's a good chance that you're going to see a four-seam fastball coming your way. If not, there's a good chance that you're going to see a slider. He's throwing that 35% of the time this season. You add those two together, there's a 92% chance that you're going to see a four-seam or a slider when Chase Burns throws it. Are you going to be able to hit it? Is the question. So let's filter this by Angels real quick. Angels four-seam fastball, slugging percentage this season. Shonawell. Looks like he's slugging good off that. I really just want to look at last year. I just don't think we have enough pitches for this year, Moncada. Yohan Moncada. Looks like he did good at slugging against the fastball last season. Out of available players today, available projected players today for the Angels, Moncada, Neto. Those are just not guys that I think of when I'm thinking of home runs, though. I'm thinking of Shonawell, Soler, Trout, even Adele. And then what else did we say he liked to throw? The slider. Let's just go see if any of these guys were good at slugging against the slider last season. Adele. He was the best on the Angels at slugging against the slider last season. Is there any history? No batter versus pitcher history I see against Chase Burns for Angels today. So I don't know. Maybe those big names for the Angels do get a hold of one. But if I were to pick one today, if I had to choose one, it would probably just be Adele. Out of the big names, probably Soler. Soler seemed like he hit good off the slider last season, slugging percentage-wise. Wasn't terrible against the four-seam last year. That's probably who I'd roll with. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of a break here. I'll be back in 5 minutes. I'm going to shoot some commercials over to you guys. And I'll see you guys here in a few minutes. We'll break down these other games on the slate. Oh, overall in that game, I guess I got to lean towards Cincinnati in that one. Cincinnati getting the win. Sure, I'll have to lean towards them on that run line as well. I think, I think what it comes down to is the walks factor. I think Cincinnati is going to get some more men on base. Also, Chase Burns is good at striking teams out, players out, batters out. And the Angels have struck out more times per game than any team in the league this year. So just based on that information there, I'm going to have to lean towards Cincinnati money line, Cincinnati run line, and I'll see you guys here soon. Here's some commercials for you.
The The world's game has a new home. Tap into the Not Move podcast every Sunday night at 9 Eastern. It's the football edition, and I'm bringing you the El Uncle Max attack, everything World Cup, every angle, every goal. Breakdowns, laughs, and all the passion in the pitch. Stay locked, stay ready.
Today's episode of Not Moved is brought to you by Open Goal, the world's #1 backyard goal. If you love soccer but hate chasing balls into the neighbor's yard, this thing is a game changer. Its rebound net sends missed shots right back to you, and the side nets keep your landscaping and your windows safe. It's perfect for kids, for training, or just having fun.
If you're craving baseball talk that doesn't flinch, tap in with us Monday nights at 8 Eastern.
It's the Rusty Mitt MLB edition of the Not Move podcast. Breakdowns, debates, all the swings and misses without the fake fluff.
Join us live or catch the replay wherever you get your pods. Rusty Mitt, not moved. Stay not moved.
Not Move Podcast just dropped its latest merch, our NHL edition in the Wickets tee. Built on soft heathered cotton with that old school goalie stretching for the save, topped with the NMP patch and the rally cry in the Wickets. It's perfect for game day, for the watch party, or just repping the crew wherever you roll. Get yours now and join fans all.
Tap into the Not Move podcast every Friday night at 8 Eastern.
We're bringing the scrap sheet, UFC edition.
Every jab, every takedown, every headline.
All the fights, all the drama, all the picks, right here.
Watch live on YouTube or listen anywhere you get your podcast. Hit follow, hit subscribe.
And stay not moved.
Oh, the Orphan Elimination Chamber tee just dropped. Fresh out the box. Look at this.
That print is nasty. Chain link O, silver hit. It's tough.
It's soft too, y'all. Fits right. Little drip for the Elimination Chamber weekend.
We rocking these all season.
If you're part of the Not Move fam, you already know.
Jump on it before it's
Grab
gone.
yours now at Not Move Shop.
Think you know sports? Ride with the underdog. Get in on Pick'em or Best Ball. Make your moves and watch the games come alive. Play $5, get 100 instantly when you sign up with promo code NOTMOVED. Turn every drive, dunk, and homer into a payday. Download the Underdog Fantasy app and start winning.
Need some new Not Move drip? The In the Wickets hoodie just dropped. Super soft fleece, heavyweight feel, and the official NMP patch on the sleeve. Tap add to cart, check out, and let us handle the rest. In a couple days, it shows up at your door, ready to rock. Rep the podcast from the couch to the tailgate.
No, but Friday nights, 9 Eastern, it's the Dribble NBA edition on the Not Move podcast. We break down the week, the trades, the highlights, everything around the league. Tap in, chop it up with us, and get the takes that move the game forward. Stay not moved.
Today's episode of the Not Move podcast is brought to you by Walmart.com. With our storefront in the Walmart app, you can get everything you need. Pick up or have it delivered.
We ordered dinner while recording and it showed up before we wrapped.
Better good sweet corn and burrata ravioli.
Nuri protein drinks, even St. Patrick's Day treats.
Walmart.com.
Today's episode of Not Moved is brought to you by Open Goal, the world's #1 backyard goal. If you love soccer but hate chasing balls into the neighbor's yard, this thing is a game changer. Its rebound net sends missed shots right back to you, and the side nets keep your landscaping and your windows safe. It's perfect for kids, for training, or just having fun.
Coming up with BetUS, the sports book that lets you wager anywhere in the country.
And we're giving you a massive edge. Use promo code NOTMOVE when you sign up and get a 100% match on your first 3 deposits.
Plus, there's a 200% crypto bonus up to $27.50. Football, hoops, baseball, soccer, it's all in play.
The actual
Not Move, fam. Southgate edition just landed and it's fire. Check the tee, watch out for the skis and the wickets. Hockey stick, cricket wickets, all vibes. We got hoodies, mugs, caps, beanies, whatever you need. Cop yours before they...
The Not Move podcast is fueled by W Energy. Smooth, jitter-free focus, and flavors that slap. Mango, berry, watermelon. Whatever gets you locked in, they've got it. Hit up W.GG, use promo code NOTMOVED, and snag 10% off your order. Stay not moved, stay energized.
Every Thursday night, the Not Move podcast drops a new episode of
In the Wickets.
our deep dive on everything around the NHL.
We break down the plays, the trades, the stats, and the stories that matter.
Plus a few hot takes along the way.
Join us live at 8 p.m. Eastern, or catch it on your favorite podcast app right after.
Same energy, same audience.
episode of the Not Move podcast is brought to you by the MLB Shop. They have every team's gear, from classic caps to World Baseball Classic hoodies, all official and all ready for game day. Tap the link in our bio to head straight to the shop and snag your favorite merch.
Today's episode is brought to you by the NFL Pro Shop. If you want to rep your squad with fresh gear, this is where you get it.
Jerseys, hats, hoodies.
Even the sideline stuff. It's all there and it's all official. Hit the Not Move link in our bio. Gear up for
Tuesday nights just got louder. Ringside Rewind is live every week, 9 Eastern.
We're breaking down Raw, SmackDown, and everything leading into the weekend. If it happens between the ropes, we're talking about it.
Deep dives, hot takes, and a few surprise
And a
replays.
whole lot of arguing.
Yeah, but the good kind.
Ringside Rewind.
Right here on TikTok, the Not Move podcast presents you Southgate's Parlays. Break the bookies, not your bank. For just $9.99 a day or $49.99 a week, you get the daily fire picks delivered straight to your phone and a direct line to Southgate himself in our private Discord. Tap the link, grab your membership at notmoveshop.com.
Move podcast has new merch. Watch out for the skies, Southgate edition, premium cotton, bold print. Support the movement. Stay not moved. Grab yours at notmoveshop.fourthwall.com.
Basketball nights just got even bigger. With NMP and MyBookie, you can bet on every matchup, no matter where you live. Tap in, pick your spread, and watch the action unfold. Start wagering in every state with NMP and their sponsor, MyBookie.ag. Use promo code NOTMOVED for up to $125.
Morning bettors, welcome back to Angling the Odds on the Not Move podcast.
Every Monday and Friday, we tear into the lines, probabilities, and hidden edges across the boards.
We run the numbers, chart the trends, and find value plays so you can tilt the odds your way.
Live at 10:30 Eastern. Mark it, lock it, and join the conversation.
All right. Thanks for hanging with me there through the commercials. Let me put up this poll here. Twins at Blue Jays is the next game we'll be talking about. All right. Twins at Blue Jays. Twins 4-game win streak. Toronto 1-game winning streak. The Twins, they are 3-2 against the run line as a road underdog this season. Toronto's 2-4 against the run line as a home favorite this season. So Minnesota has the advantage there. Overall, Twins, Blue Jays. Minnesota 7-6 against the run line this season. And Toronto is 5-7 against the run line. And then after a win, the Twins 4-2 against the run line. And Toronto 2-2 against the run line. So we got Woods Richardson, the projected starting pitcher today for Minnesota. Right-handed pitcher. The Twins have lost both games in which he's pitched in this season. They lost by 2 runs at Kansas City that first game, and then they hosted Tampa Bay. They lost 4-1 in extra innings. Woods Richardson. Walks per 9 innings is at 2.3, which is pretty good. Pretty good. From my understanding, that's above average. Home runs per 9 inning, 1.5 home runs per 9 innings pitched. So that number could be a little bit better for him. I think there is some decent chance that maybe some of these Toronto Blue Jay players hit home runs today, but I didn't see this ballpark being one of the best ballparks to hit home runs in, according to that one source I was looking at, baseballsavant.com. Now, last season, it was the 3rd best for right-handed hitters to hit home runs in. And for lefties last season, it was the 7th best. So maybe it is a good ballpark to hit home runs in. From my understanding, it is, whether you're a left-handed hitter or a right-handed hitter. And since 2024, it looks like he's about even between both lefties and righties in home runs allowed. Same with batting average. It's pretty equal. But this season, Woods Richardson has been more vulnerable to right-handed hitters, batting average. He's allowed 1 home run to a righty and 1 home run to a lefty this season. I'm looking at the history here. Schneider, he's projected to be the number 6 hitter for Toronto today. Schneider has 3 home runs off of him and 5 at-bats. So that's good history there for Davis Schneider. And then Jimenez does have a home run off of him and 10 at-bats. So we can go look at, Woods Richardson real quick. his pitch arsenal. I'm not going to look into every pitcher for home runs, but I do think this one might be worth looking into. This season, he's thrown 50% of his pitches are the four seam and then 27% split. So there's a 77% chance that you're going to see a four seam or a split when he pitches based on the small sample size that we have for this season. So let's go look for Toronto Blue Jays. And players last season that were good at hitting, that slugging against that four seam. George Springer and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And those are guys that I think of, really, when I'm thinking about a home run hitter for Toronto, Springer and Vladdy. And those were the two guys that were good at hitting against that slugging, I should say, against the four-seam fastball last year. Springer a little bit better than Vladimir Guerrero. And then what else did he like to throw? Well, I also just want to look at Schneider real quick. 433 slugging off the four-seam last season. And then the splitter. Who was better last season? Vladimir Guerrero was better at slugging against the split than Springer. Vladimir slugged 412, Springer 250. So overall, I think Vladimir Guerrero probably has the better opportunity today out of those two. And then we have Patrick Corbin. Let's go look at Corbin a little bit here. I do want to talk about Minnesota's stolen base opportunity real quick. They rank 12th best in stolen bases per game. And Toronto ranks 28th, so third worst in stolen bases allowed per game this season. And then I'm going to go over to see if Corbin is good or bad at allowing stolen bases. Patrick Corbin is vulnerable, guys, to allowing stolen bases. He's one of the worst at allowing stolen bases. So I do think Minnesota has a good chance at stealing some bases today based on that information. Especially if Corbin likes to walk guys. Which I'm trying to see if he does. I think he does. About 2-3 walks per game or so last season. Seen a lot of these games he walked 2 batters. So those walks, and Minnesota is good at drawing walks. So I do think, there's a better chance today for Minnesota to draw some walks than Toronto and steal bases. And did we mention Woods Richardson's pitch count, average pitch count? 86. And I think it's real important in this game for both of these pitchers to go as long as they can, because the bullpen ERAs for both teams are are bad. Below average. Minnesota ranks 21st. Toronto ranks 26th. Corbin, it doesn't give me an average pitch count for him here on rotowire.com, but I see some games last year where he threw 90 pitches, 100 pitches, so he is capable of getting there. But I also see some games where he threw 65, low 80s, high 70s. So I think it's just kind of all about how he performs, And he was just recalled from the single A on Tuesday. So now he's been in the league for a while, but trying to see if there's any history here. Buxton has had 2 home runs at 10 at-bats against him. Josh Bell has had 3 home runs and 16 at-bats against him. Like I said, I'm not necessarily going to get into all the home run stuff here, but we can look at it real quick. Slider. Patrick Corbin likes to throw the slider, it looks like. So let's look for Minnesota Twins, who have a good slugging percentage off the slider. Wallner, Lewis. Doesn't look like Lewis is in today, or even if he's still playing for Minnesota. Looks like Wallner did the best off of that. But like I said, Buxton and Josh Bell have the have home runs off of Patrick Corbin throughout Corbin's career. Buxton or Bell? Buxton slugged 541. Who did Bell play for last year? Washington, I think. 483 slugging off that slider last year. So, I think maybe Buxton has the better opportunity today to get one than Josh Bell. But, like I was saying, Corbin's pitch arsenal is somewhat diverse. 34% slider, 29% sinker, 25% cutter. How did Josh Bell do against the sinker last season? Slugging, not good. 316. And then what about Buxton? Twins. 537. So off of his 2 favorite pitch types, Corbin's 2 favorite pitch types, I think Buxton overall has the slugging percentage advantage over Josh Bell. So that'd probably be the guy I'd be looking for, maybe Buxton. So, yeah, bullpen ERA, runs per game. I mean, Minnesota, they rank 9th best in runs per game this season. Toronto ranks 26th in opponent runs per game allowed. So I'm seeing some things add up for me to like Minnesota here. Toronto ranks 26th in runs per game this season. Minnesota ranks 16th in opponent runs per game. So overall, I'll give Minnesota that advantage. Toronto is a tough team to strike out, and they were last year too. So that, can get Woods Richardson and get him to a higher pitch count than normal days, which could bring in that 21st ranked bullpen ERA for Minnesota, which isn't terrible, but hopefully for anybody that's interested in Minnesota today, hopefully, you see some some ground outs, fly outs, and not Toronto Blue Jays getting down to, a 2-2 count and just continuously fouling some balls off. I think that'd be my concern with Minnesota today. And if you, for some reason, like Patrick Corbin's strikeout props today, Minnesota does rank 23rd in team strikeouts per game, so they're below average in that category. I'm gonna lean towards Minnesota in this one, plus the 1.5, potentially winning this game against Toronto today. I think I've leaned with 2 underdogs so far. We talked about Reynolds, right? We talked about how I was thinking he was the best chance to hit a home run today for the Pirates. Looks like he hit one. I'm pretty sure that's who I was saying, right? Against Imanaga. Imanaga had that I forgot what I was saying, but yeah, it looks like Reynolds he had a no-hitter going on. And looks like that's been broken up now, and Pittsburgh's winning. And I think I was leaning with Chicago in this one too, right? So the leans, sometimes are not all that. Maybe the way to go is to go opposite. I mean, I had to do that to myself last night. I made 3 picks last night or yesterday. I saw the Yankees win that first game, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to go against my picks. It seems like to me, almost seems like the better I feel about a pick, the worse the outcome is. I don't know if that's the same case with you guys, the viewers, but kind of seems like with me, the more confident I am in something, the more it tends to go the other way. Yeah, Minnesota. I just want to look at these starting lineups real quick. Jimenez is not starting for Minnesota today. I think that's a blow. We're looking at Toronto. Jimenez is in. Vladimir is in. Clement and Sanchez. And then for Minnesota, Jeffers, Martin, Keishel, and Bell are all in. The thing about Toronto, though, about going against them today is that they do have, 4 of Toronto's best batting average hitters against right-handed pitching are batting. The 4 guys are batting .276 or better against right-handed pitching. Now, Minnesota has 4 guys that are batting .250 or better against left-handed pitching this season, but the top guy is Jeffers with a .267 batting average. So what I'm trying to say here is that the top guy for Minnesota in regards to batting average against left-handed left-handed pitchers, Jeffers is batting .267, and then you got Sanchez, who has the 4th best batting average against right-handed pitching. He's batting at .276. So you got 4 guys for Toronto that have pretty good batting averages against right-handed pitching. But yeah, I'm still leaning towards Minnesota on that one. All right, athletics, and let's see. I can maybe be on here for another hour, so I'm going to try to get through this a little bit quicker here. Athletics at New York Mets. Athletics, they're 5-4 against the run line as a road underdog. The Mets are 1-4 against the run line as a home favorite. Sacramento Athletics, they're 5-7 overall on that run line, and the Mets are 7-6. So, although the Athletics are better as a road underdog against the run line than the Mets are as a home favorite, the Mets overall are still better against the run line than the Athletics are. And then Athletics are on a 2-game win streak. They're 1-3. The Athletics are after a win on that run line. And the Mets, after a loss, are 2-3. So the Mets have advantages in 2 out of 3 of those run line trends. And I'm looking at the batting averages. Let me look at the projected starting lineups, or let me refresh my page here to see if we got some starting lineups. Yeah, we do. Okay, so Muncy is batting the best off of right-handed pitching for the Athletics. Langoliers and Soderstrom. And all of them are projected to be starting today. It's confirmed here on rotowire.com. And then for the Mets, you got Alvarez. He's in. Robert, Beatty, Polanco, who's not in, and Vientos, who's not in. I think with Vientos and Polanco being out, is a little. It hurts the Mets a little bit here today. Let's go look at JT Ginn game log. Ginn has pitched 3 games this season, but he hasn't pitched long in those games. 1.1 innings pitched, 2 innings pitched, 3.2 innings pitched. So he's not going deep into games, which is concerning because the Athletics have the 22nd ranked bullpen ERA. They're below average. So, if the Athletics had a top 5, top 10 bullpen ERA, I'd be less concerned. But it looks like their bullpen's not doing so good this year. I would maybe look to see if you're interested in the Mets this game or either team to see if he's projected. I'm not seeing any note on it, but I would maybe maybe check some sources to see if JT Ginn is projected to throw more than 45 pitches today, because that's the most he's thrown this season so far is 45 pitches. I'm seeing this is going to be his first start this season. We can also look at last season. There are games, guys, where he pitched 98 pitches last year, 91, 95. So he's capable of it. It'll be interesting to see what they do, though. Are they going to leave him out there for 80, 90 pitches, or rely on that bullpen a little bit today? My guess is they're going to try to string him out and get as much as they can out of him. The Athletics were just kind of my team last year, too, on the run line. But Blessed Up P, if you're still in the building, I know you like let me get that poll open for you guys. Blessed Up P, I know you like you're the Mets fan. What if you're still out there, Blessed Up P, what do you think about your Mets today? What do you guys think about this game? Who's going to win? Athletics, Mets. We have a poll there for you guys. runs per game. Mets are getting more runs per game this season than the Athletics, and the Athletics are allowing more runs per game than the Mets. So statistically, that seems to be good for the Mets. Also, the Mets have the 4th best bullpen ERA in baseball, so that's looking good. If you're thinking about the Mets today, the Mets do a good job at limiting stolen bases per game. Both of these teams are about average at stealing bases per game. Mets rank 14th, Athletics rank 16th. If you, we'll talk about the Mets pitcher here in a second, Clay Holmes. But if you do like a Clay Holmes strikeout prop today, the Athletics do allow they do strike out the 2nd most out of any team in the league this season. So I think this could possibly be a good spot for strikeout props. The Mets do a pretty good job at not striking out. They rank 7th best. The Athletics are not good at drawing walks. The Mets are okay at it. I don't know if we looked at how Jin, his walks per 9 innings isn't concerning. Is at 2.6. His home runs per 9 inning is starting to creep up. So if you do like a home run hitter for the Mets today, I could see that. I'm not going to get into all of it for time's sake, though. Clay Holmes, projected starting pitcher today for the Mets. Let's go see what we're working with here. Yeah, I mean, he's gotten a game with 5 strikeouts earlier this season, 4 strikeouts. I'm not sure what his line is, but once again, yeah, the Athletics strike out the 2nd most times per game out of any team in the league this season. Clay Holmes. The Mets did win both games that Clay Holmes pitched this season. They won the first game by 2 runs, the second game by 9 runs. Okay. Clay Holmes seems to be a little bit worse against right-handed hitters since 2024 in regards to batting average. Home runs seem to be about even. Looks like his walks per 9 innings is starting to creep up a little bit, 3.6, which is a little bit, it's getting near below average. It's not super concerning. Especially with the fact that the Athletics are not good at drawing walks. They rank 26th as a team there in drawing walks per game. Doesn't look like Clay Holmes this season, at least, has allowed a ton of home runs. Really, last season either. I'm looking at some of these games, and it looks like he's done pretty good at limiting home runs. So overall, yeah, I'm gonna have to lean towards the Mets in this one. Holmes 2 walks, says Blessed Up P. 2 walks. Two walks. And he's a Mets fan there, Blessed Up P. Once again, though, guys, even though the Athletics rank 26th in team walks per game, meaning that they're not good at drawing walks, sometimes that number can be low enough to be appealing. I'm going to lean towards the Mets in that one, though. money line and run line. Typically, even if I lean towards a team on the money line, I'll lean with them on the run line. But like I said, sometimes that run line's tricky. I like those books that offer to be able to take the hook off. -1.5 to -1 can make the world of difference. Okay. Let's talk about the Yankees game. Yankees and Yankees and Tampa Bay Rays. Who do you guys like in this one? Yankees 2-game losing streak, and same with not the Blue Jays, Tampa Bay Rays as well. Both of these teams are on a 2-game losing streak. Looks like this ballpark in Tampa Bay has been good for left-handed hitters to hit home runs this season. I want to look at last season though too. Last season, Tampa Bay Rays wasn't very doesn't look like it was very good. Let's see. About average in left-handed hitters hitting home runs according to baseballsavant.com. Looks like it was pretty beneficial for right-handed hitters to hit home runs in this one last season. Second best according to this source. So I'll kind of just let you guys be the judge on which ballparks are good and bad. Just off the top of my head, Coors Field, Colorado, Yankees, typically pretty good. But yeah, so last season, this Tampa Bay ballpark was good for right-handed hitters to hit home runs, according to that source. This season, left-handed hitters. And I don't know if they changed any dimensions or anything at this ballpark. Anyways, the Yankees are 5-1 on the run line as a road favorite this season. The Tampa Bay Rays are 0-2 on the run line as a home underdog this season. So I'll give the Yankees the advantage there. After a loss, the Yankees are 2-1 on the run line. Tampa Bay Rays are 2-4 on the run line. So I'll give the Yankees the advantage there as well. Oh, is that run line? Oh, that's win-loss record. Excuse me. Win-loss record. Let's filter this back by run line. Like I said, guys, this is my first MLB show this season, so I'm just a little bit rusty here. We're going to work through it. Run line after a loss is what we want. The Yankees are 2-1 on the run line after a loss. Tampa Bay Rays 2-4 on the run line after a loss. And then overall, without any of those filters, the Yankees are 8-4 on the run line. Tampa Bay is 5-7. So I give the Yankees advantages on all three of those run line trends. We got Gill versus Matz. That is the confirmed lineup that they have, confirmed starting pitchers here that they have for this game. So let's talk about Matt first, because I'm sure everybody's interested, in Judge. Is he going to hit a home run or not? Well, here at the very top, we'll get into the home run. Here at the very top, I'm seeing that Matt's had 8 strikeouts maybe in his last appearance against Minnesota on April 4th, so 6 days ago. 8 strikeouts, 2 strikeouts against St. Louis. So the Yankees strike out this season. They rank 25th in team strikeouts per game. So I don't know what that over-under is for Steven Matz on the strikeouts today, but I do think that there is a possibility that he accumulates a decent amount of strikeouts, considering that the Yankees rank near the bottom of the league in team strikeouts per game. Walks per 9 innings, Matt's 2.5, so not super concerning. Home runs per 9 innings, 0.8, not very concerning. Goldschmidt does have 2 home runs against him and 12 at bats, according to RotoWire.com. Stanton has 2 home runs against him at 18 at bats. Bellinger 1 home run. Aaron Judge does not have a home run in 14 at bats against him. But you may like a different source for your batter versus pitcher matchups. I know Blessed Up P and I last season, I think it was Swish Analytics. That was the source that we preferred. We saw that RotoWire was just a little bit behind in their updates, or maybe it was the other way around. I forgot, but I think it's pretty up to date, I would think, considering we haven't had a whole lot of baseball this season. So, but yeah, Judge 0 home runs and 14 at bats against him. Let's go look at. I'm interested to know if Matt's is good or bad at stolen base at allowing stolen bases, because the Yankees are good at stealing bases this season. They rank 3rd best in stolen bases per game, and Tampa Bay allows the 3rd most stolen bases per game to opposing teams, so they're not good at limiting those stolen bases. So I'm going to go over here to the source and type in Matt's and see where he's at. Looks like he's decent at limiting those stolen bases, according to baseballsavant.com. His net bases prevented number is 3, which is pretty decent. But I still think the Yankees can steal some bases today. And then we can go look at the pitch arsenal for Mats. %49 sinker this season is what he's throwing. 49% sinker, 30% changeup. So there's a good chance batters are going to see a sinker or a changeup against Mats today. And I want to know, which Yankees were good at hitting against that last season. Aaron Judge slugged .775 off of it last season, off that specific pitch, the sinker, which ranked 1st on the team. Then it was Ben Rice, .638, Chisholm, .583, Wells, .556, Bellinger, .500. This season, Rosario, but I don't even want to talk about this season. We don't have a big enough sample size. So we had the sinker, and then what was the other pitch that he liked to throw? The changeup. Aaron Judge was up there, of course. Grisham, Stanton. Judge slugged a .582 off the changeup. And then is Matt's good or bad against lefties or righties? It looks like he's only allowed 1 home run this season, Matt's, and it was to a right-handed hitter. Since 2024, his batting average against right-handed hitters has been much worse than against lefties. And he's also allowed a good amount more of home runs to right-handed hitters, which Aaron Judge is a right-handed hitter, So I would probably be looking for a right-handed hitter today if I were interested in a home run prop for the Yankees. Maybe it is Aaron Judge, maybe it's not. I think Rosario might be interesting here. Those would be the first two guys I'd be looking at. And then who do you guys like for a home run in this one? Let's see, Bettors. Have you talked about the Marlins versus Tigers? Yeah, I had to lean towards the Marlins in that one. Marlins. I think that was like one of the only underdogs I've picked so far. Marlins and Twins. I don't know, but I feel like the Rays play the Yankees tough. Rays play the Yankees tough. I was leaning towards Rays, and Matt's is from New York and a former Met. Yeah. They don't exist anymore. Yeah, and I could see the Rays doing it, especially I don't know. Let's look at this pitcher, Gill here for the Yankees. But let's leave your comment up here. Yeah, let's look at Gill. Yankees recalled Gill from AAA. He was left out of the opening day rotation, but now he's in. What about last year? Gill, the projected starting pitcher, they confirmed that he's the starting pitcher on rotowire.com. But, I'm looking at his game log from last year, some of these games that he pitched. He's had games where he's thrown about 90 pitches. It looks like that's about his average, 90 pitches. He can get as high as 98, as low as 77, which, let's say he is on the low end today. His pitch count's on the low end. I'm a little bit less concerned about that. I think it's extremely important for Tampa Bay today to get as many pitches as they can out of Matt's, considering that Tampa Bay's bullpen ERA is the second worst in baseball. And the Yankees have the seventh best bullpen ERA in baseball. Here's another interesting thing, though, about Tampa Bay. Blessed up, P. I know you were thinking about taking them today. I think something that's interesting about them is that they have three guys that are batting .351 or better against right-handed pitching, whereas the Yankees only have Aaron Judge, who's batting a .250 or better batting average against left-handed pitching. So, let me just double check these starting lineups. Fortes, Simpson, Diaz. I could definitely see an upset here today in this one. Blessed up, P. And I think it comes down to Matt's, man, and getting that pitch count high. You don't necessarily, if you're Tampa Bay, you don't necessarily want your 29th ranked bullpen ERA pitching for a bulk of this game. So, and the Yankees, they just struggled. I believe Jeffrey Springs is a left-handed pitcher, right? And I think it was yesterday where the Yankees were almost no hit against him. He almost threw a no-hitter. So, yeah, Aaron Judge is the only one right now batting .250 or better, batting average against left-handed pitching for this Yankees team right now. Runs per game. Both of these teams are similar this season. The Yankees rank 11th in runs per game. Tampa Bay ranks 10th, but Tampa Bay is allowing the third most runs per game out of any team in the league this year. The Yankees are allowing the fewest runs per game out of any team this season. And then stolen bases per game. Tampa Bay is capable of stealing bases. They rank 8th best in stolen bases per game. So I want to see how good or bad Gill is at preventing that. This doesn't look like he's great or terrible at it. Just right about average. I want to like post in the chat what I'm looking at here. Let me see if I can write in here. That's what I'm looking at if you type that in your search engine, you should be able to look what I'm looking at. I'm looking at net bases prevented because I don't do a baseball show every day, and I know this information is important. Is a pitcher good or bad at allowing base stealing? So I'll look at that net bases prevented chart, and I'm filtering it by the start year of 2025 and end year of 2026. So it's giving me last year's data too. And then I'll just write in here too, baseball savant, baseballsavant.com is what I'm looking at. And I know like last year, that source was really helpful for me. It was really helpful for me. What else were we looking at? Gil, I know we were looking at something with him. I think I think maybe Tampa Bay has a little bit better chance to steal bases today. I think it's close though. And then what about walks, home runs for Gil? Walks, home runs. Looks like he is worse at pitching to left-handed hitters. Gil is since 2024. Worse batting average and a few more home runs to lefties. So if I were interested in a Tampa Bay Ray today, I'd be looking at left-handed hitters. Simpson, Aranda, Mullins, Walls, switch hitters should be batting left today. Probably specifically Simpson. Because he's batting .394. He's got a .394 batting average against right-handed pitching this season when I checked this morning. You could look at what was that? Fangraphs is where I look at that. Fangraphs.com splits leaderboards. I click on that, and then at the top left-hand corner of the screen, it'll say versus right-handed pitching as a left-handed hitter. Then you can filter it by team. I think this is a really cool source here. Simpson batting .394. Doesn't have a home run off of right-handed pitching this season, though. Aranda has 2. Mullins has 1. But Aranda has a better batting average against right-handed pitching than Mullins. So Mullins does have a home run off of Gil too. Six at bats, 1 home run. So like I said, just for time's sake, I can't look into all the home run stuff, but I'd probably definitely give Mullins a good look there. Miranda maybe, but blessed up P. Ooh, dude, you're making me kind of want to lean towards Tampa Bay in this one too today. Maybe not to win, right? But plus 1.5. I could see it really going either way. I don't like how the Yankees have been batting against lefties this season. Probably hasn't been like too many games or anything, and I do like the batting averages for Diaz, Simpson, and Fortes against right-handed pitching. I think I mentioned that I think Tampa Bay might have a better chance of stealing some bases today if they were to get on base. They're a tough team to strike out, but Yankees bullpen's pretty good. I'm kind of torn on this game, so I guess I'll lean towards Tampa Bay plus the 1.5 with you there. Bust up, P. All right. Giants at Orioles. I can maybe be on here for another 30 minutes or so, guys. Let me see if there's any games that just really look interesting here. I mean, you already know I got to talk about my Colorado Rockies. I'm excited about what they're doing so far this season. I'm a happy Rockies fan with a losing record. 6-7. We're 6-7. That was a heartbreaker last night, but we're 6-7, man. We're fighting. That's all I can ask for. I'm not going to get into necessarily all the stats for that game. Here, let's just kind of do like a general breakdown, and then maybe we can get into some more in-depth stuff before I get out of here. San Francisco and Baltimore. Let's talk about that game. San Francisco 2-game win streak. Baltimore 3-game win streak. Who's better against the run line? San Francisco's 4-9 against the run line this season. Baltimore's 4-8, so pretty similar. San Francisco, they're 0-1 against the run line as a road underdog. Baltimore's 1-3 against the run line as a home favorite. Let's see. Neither of these teams are great at stealing bases. San Francisco does not draw walks very often. They rank last in drawing walks when they're batting. So if Boz is a pitcher that likes to walk batters, he's got a good matchup today since San Francisco is not good at drawing walks. But it doesn't look like Boz is extremely terrible at that. Runs per game, Baltimore, they're a little bit better at scoring runs per game this season than San Francisco. Opponent runs allowed per game. Baltimore is a little bit better than San Francisco at preventing runs per game. I don't think there's going to be too many stolen bases in this one. If you like strikeout props for Roop, I can maybe see that, considering Baltimore ranks 24th in team strikeouts per game. Bullpen ERAs, Baltimore's a little bit above average. San Francisco's a little bit below average. And see, we got starting lineups. Ward and Alexander are two guys that have a good batting average against right-handed pitching for Baltimore. So if you're looking for maybe a batter to get a hit, those would be two guys that I would first look at. Obviously, there's some other factors that we could look at, but we just don't have the time to. And then Chapman, Arise, and Adames, Chapman, and Arise. The first three hitters for San Francisco today are batting good off right-handed pitching in regards to batting average. So I don't know, based off this little information I have, I guess think it's pretty close. I'd have to just kind of look into some other stuff, but I guess I'll lean towards Baltimore. And we got the Guardians and Braves. Let's get that poll up for you guys there. Guardians and Braves. Cleveland, they're 4-3 on the run line as a road underdog. Atlanta's 4-2 on the run line as a home favorite. Overall, who's better on the run line? Atlanta's 8-5 on the run line this season. Cleveland is 9-4, so Cleveland's a little bit better on that run line. Atlanta's bullpen's really good, so that's the thing about taking Cleveland today is if Cleveland does get behind, and it's the 7th, 8th, 9th inning, they're down by one or more runs, they're going up against the best bullpen ERA in baseball, the Atlanta Braves. Cleveland ranks 15th in bullpen ERA, so they're average. Atlanta's both of these teams have been good at limiting runs allowed per game. Both of these teams have limited that good, but Atlanta's offense has done much better with runs per game. They rank 6th best in the MLB, whereas Cleveland ranks 23rd. Stolen bases per game, neither of these teams are above average in stealing bases. Both of these teams are above average in not getting struck out. Walks per game, neither of them are great at drawing walks. Let me look at these starting lineups real quick. Dubon, Baldwin, Olson, Harris, and then for the other team, Hoskins, Dalauder, the rookie, and Arias is out. I got to lean towards probably Atlanta in this one. What do you guys think? Atlanta? I got a feeling it's going to be a dog day. Just not, hope not in the Mets game. Yeah. Elder has improved also. You like the Braves here today. Yeah, that's good. I want to know what you guys think too. Shoot, I mean, I've been super busy lately. Not saying I haven't been paying attention to baseball. I have, but definitely was more I watched it. I paid attention to it a lot more last season, and like I said, I've kind of been paying attention to golf. That's kind of new to me. I don't know where my enthusiasm for golf came from, but and shoot, after doing this show with you guys, I mean, I like baseball. I just feel like we needed to get some games, a good amount of games before I started doing these shows because of just sample size purposes. But yeah, I'm thinking Atlanta in this one. I think they're favored, right? Atlanta's favored. Sure, I'll lean with them on the run line too. And then we got the White Sox and Royals. I mean, I saw the White Sox beat the Royals yesterday, guys, but if I remember correctly, the Royals had a really good record against the White Sox last season. Let's talk about what's going on with the Royals real quick. I had one of my friends text me the other day and just asked me like, what's wrong with the Royals? My friend texted me yesterday and asked me what was wrong with the Royals right now. They're 5-8. It's still early in the season. But let's talk about their flaws. Let's start with that bullpen ERA. They rank 27th in bullpen ERA. So I feel like they gotta Do a better job with that. And they got to get that offense going. They rank 25th right now in runs per game. What they are doing good is stealing bases. And that championship Royals team from, I forgot what year it was, but a few years back. When was the last time they won the championship? Was it 10 years ago? Doesn't feel like it. It feels like yesterday. In 2016, I think it was, right? Or 2015. Okay, 2015. I know with that team, one of their biggest strengths was base stealing. It was probably their biggest strength. And I mean, there were a lot of strengths with that team, but I really feel like it started with base stealing, and they're doing a good job of that this season. They rank 5th best in stolen bases per game, and they're going up against the White Sox, who have not done a good job at preventing those stolen bases. They rank 25th in opponent stolen bases per game this season. So I specifically want to see if this Davis Martin guy, the projected starting pitcher for the White Sox today, is good or bad at preventing base stealing. Looks like he's bad. So I really do think, if the Royals get some base runners on, that they can really take advantage of the base stealing today, which falls right into their strength. And then I think we got to talk about, does Davis Martin, that projected starting pitcher here for the White Sox, does he walk a lot of batters? It looks like his walks per 9 inning is creeping up, 3.3. So that's about average. But the Royals do a good job at drawing walks. They rank 8th best in the MLB in drawing walks per game. So yeah, man, if I'm the Royals today, I'm really just taking my time in the batter's box, not chasing too much, making Davis Martin pitch some strikes, waiting for the pitch that I want, and and if they're outside of the zone, take my base and take advantage of those. Take advantage of the base stealing that they can do. White Sox are on a 1-game win streak. Royals on a 3-game losing streak. White Sox, they have 3 guys that are batting 300 or better against left-handed pitching, which is what Bubic uses his left hand to pitch. They have Vargas, who's batting 400. He's batting in the 2-hole. Mydroth, who's batting leadoff, and Montgomery, who's batting 6th today. So those are the 3 guys I think, the Royals got to try to keep in check today. Vargas, Mydroth, and Montgomery, considering those 3 guys are batting 300 or better, have a 300 batting average or better against left-handed pitching. It's bad, man, because the Royals, they have Garcia, who's batting 257 off of right-handed pitching, which is what Davis Martin pitches. Garcia, 257, Witt, 257, and Caglione, 280. So Caglione has the best batting average against right-handed pitching this season on the Royals. So they gotta find some offense. The Royals do. But yeah, both of these teams bad bullpen ERA. Both of them not very impressive offenses this season. And the White Sox are not bad at stealing bases either. They rank 10th best in the MLB. The Royals, as a team, they are preventing those base stealing, the base stealing a little bit better. I think a lot of that probably has to do with Salvador Perez, who wants to really run against him. But I do want to see Bubic. It looks like Bubic does a good job at limiting base stealing too. So I'm going to have to just, lean with the Royals in this one today. The offense worries me a little bit, but Friday night at home, I think they could get it done. But let's also keep in mind, I mentioned this at some point of the show. I think they were talking about some possibility of some rain in this one today. I don't know if that rain is going to be, strong enough to make this a complete washout, But if you're thinking about, making a play in this game, I would check up to date with that weather, because it does look like this game and the Angels versus Reds game are the ones that had possible weather delays in it. But it doesn't look like either one's going to be significant. But once again, I would check on that. Washington at Milwaukee. Washington at Milwaukee. Both of these teams are on 2-game losing streaks. Washington at Milwaukee. From my understanding, this might be a good place to hit a home run. I gotta find a better source for the home run things. But last season, let's go look. Milwaukee, it looks like it was the 11th best place to hit a home run for right-handed hitters, and for left-handed hitters, not the best. Ranked 23rd. So maybe the right-handed pitching is the way to go here. This season, it ranks first for right-handed hitters hitting home runs. So that's probably the first place I would look for, is a right-handed hitter in this one. Maybe Irvin or Patrick are really bad at allowing home runs. Patrick, 2.0 home runs per 9 innings, which is high. Not Patrick. Sorry, Irvin. Irvin, the pitcher for Washington. Looks like he's been a little bit more susceptible to lefties hitting home runs against him. Let's look at these starting lineups real quick. I think Milwaukee, I know last year they were really good at stealing bases. This season, the same. Both of these teams are capable of stealing bases, okay? So the question is, who is Irvin bad at preventing base stealing? It looks like he's pretty decent at preventing those stolen bases. And same with Patrick. Both of them are about the same. So what about walks? Milwaukee, they're the best team in the business at drawing walks. I mean, that's really good for Milwaukee. I mean, you're good at drawing walks, and you're the best team in baseball at drawing walks per game, and you're the best team in baseball at stolen bases per game. It's really good. I mean, to me, that means you don't even have to get a hit, and you can have runners in scoring position, So I think that's a very good situation for the Brewers. We were looking to see if either of these teams, either of these pitchers walked a lot of batters, Patrick or Irvin. It doesn't really look like it. It looks about average, but it honestly looks like Patrick walks a few more batters per 9 innings than yeah. So I think that's tough. Patrick does walk more batters per 9 innings. The Milwaukee Brewers pitcher walks more batters per 9 innings than Irvin does, but Milwaukee's much better at drawing walks. Once again, they rank first. Washington ranks 17th in walks per game. Bullpen ERA, I mean, another good situation for Milwaukee. They rank 5th best in bullpen ERA. Washington ranks 28th, so 3rd worst in bullpen ERA. Irvin and Patrick. Patrick, he's pitched 74 and 86 pitch count. That's solid. What about Irvin? Irvin looks like he's been getting 85, 93 pitches. So he can hit that 90 range, which I think will be important for him today, considering Washington has a bad bullpen ERA. Both of these offenses have been doing good this year, too. Washington ranks 3rd best in runs per game. Milwaukee ranks 4th best. I don't really like playing overs, but I think maybe this game could do it. I don't know what the over-under is, but yeah, you got 2 good offenses here. And Washington has allowed the most runs per game to opposing teams this year. So I'm gonna have to lean towards Milwaukee in this one. You know, both of these. Now Washington is 5-1 on the run line as a road underdog. Milwaukee's also 5-1 on the run line as a home favorite. Overall, Milwaukee has the 3rd best run line record in baseball. They're 9-3. Look, man, I'm really happy with the fact that I see the Rockies at the top of this list. I think last year the Rockies were the worst team against the run line. So seeing them at the top of this list this year is awesome. That's better than seeing the Rockies having a winning record. What do they say? Good teams win, great teams cover. The Rockies 10-3 against the run line. Anyway, enough about the Rockies. Yeah, give me Milwaukee here. Red Sox and Cardinals. I don't have a lot of time. I can still be on here. Okay, so I could talk about this all day, but yeah, I got some stuff I got to do. I try to get on here as early as possible for you guys. Oh, we have some comments. Bettors, I want to see. Let's see. Bettors, I want to see you live every morning this MLB season and for the NBA playoffs. Oh man, I would love to be, man, and I'll do my best. Okay, I'll do my best. They're blessed up, P. I will do my best to be live. Sometimes I just get out of rhythm and then I just get stuff going on, you know. But I haven't forgot about you guys. I do appreciate the support that you guys have shown me throughout the years. The White Sox, they have some young talent. 2015 against the Mets. Oh, I'm sorry for bringing that. I'm sorry for bringing that up, man. I think that's where they started off that Royals team. It was with like Cespedes, like kicked that ball in the outfield or something. It feels like it was just yesterday, man. That was 11 years ago. Yeah, Boston and St. Louis. I don't know, guys. I can't break these games down like I have been. So just for time purposes, both of these teams are on 2-game win streaks. Boston's 1-4 against the run line as a road favorite. The Cardinals are 4-2 as a home underdog against that run line. Out of all, let's see, St. Louis. Overall, St. Louis is 6-6 against the run line, and Boston is 3-9. So St. Louis, a couple advantages there. I also like what I see with the batting averages here for the St. Louis Cardinals against left-handed pitching. Early is the projected starting pitcher for Boston today. He's a lefty. I think the Cardinals have some good hitters against left-handed pitching this year. Specifically, Victor Scott, who's batting in the 9-hole today, and Walker, who's batting in the 4-hole today for St. Louis. Walker's batting 462 against left-handed pitching. Scott batting 455. All right. So yeah, you got four guys there for St. Louis that are batting 250 or better against left-handed pitching. With the Red Sox, you have 3 Abreu that are batting 250 or better against right-handed pitching. You have Abreu, who's batting 382, Rafaela, who's batting 286, and Contreras, who's now here's an aspect we need to look at. Contreras used to play for the St. Louis Cardinals, and this could be a little revenge spot for him for Boston today. I don't know how he pitches against Dustin May or his pitch arsenal, but I just wanted to, I just saw that Wilson Contreras is in the projected starting lineup for Boston, and he used to play for St. Louis. All right. Bullpen ERA, Boston, they rank 15th, St. Louis 23rd. So St. Louis has a worse bullpen ERA than Boston. And I think that could be a little bit trouble. I think that could be a little bit troublesome for St. Louis today. That bullpen ERA worries me a little bit because Dustin May, he's only had a 61 pitch count game this season and a 79. So thinking maybe St. Louis will have to go to their bullpen a little bit earlier today than usual. And I don't like their bullpen ERA. Runs per game. St. Louis's offense has been better. The defense has been about the same for both of these teams. But St. Louis's offense has been better. St. Louis ranks 7th in runs per game. Boston ranks 21st. Stolen bases per game. St. Louis ranks 13th. Boston ranks 28th. So Boston hasn't done a good job at stealing bases this season. But St. Louis looks like they've tried to capitalize on that a little bit. So the question is early for Boston. Is he good or bad at preventing base stealing? Looks like he's about average. So I could see St. Louis taking advantage of that in this one. Also, does Early like to walk batters? It looks like he does. It looks like, Early has walked some batters this season, and St. Louis is good at drawing walks. They rank 5th best. So I think that could be bad for Boston today. St. Louis drawing walks. I think they're in position to steal a base or two. I like those Walker and Scott. I like their batting averages against left-handed pitching. The run line trends and all that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to lean towards St. Louis in this one. I think they're an underdog. Yeah, St. Louis plus 1.5. I'll have to lean with. But I like Wilson Contreras, man. I hope he maybe gets a home run there for Boston. And then we have Bettors. Can you check to see if Bryce Elder can get 5Ks versus the Guardians today? I'm wondering why it's plus money. He's been over the last 5 out of 6 games. Okay. Let's go take a look. Elder. Who's pitching for Atlanta today, going up against Cleveland. Cleveland ranks 9th best in team strikeouts per game. So they're above average at limiting those strikeouts. So, and then Elder. That's probably why it's plus money. I wish I could look into some more stuff with you, but I'm going to have to get off the air here real soon. We can look at last season too to see if he played against Cleveland. No. Let's see. He only had 2 strikeouts in the game against Cleveland. He pitched back in 2024. And that was a while ago, though, I would maybe look at Elders. Is he historically better at pitching on the road, getting strikeouts when he's on the road or at home? Is he going to be limited in any capacity today? How does he do after he loses a game? Looks like he lost his last game. I don't know. I've been on the air for a little over 3 hours now, so my brain is starting to feel a little mushy. And I got to get through these other games, but I mean that would be my guess, man. Is that Cleveland is above average at limiting those strikeouts, and I think they were the best team, if I'm not mistaken, last year. Strikeouts per game team. Last year, let me go look real quick. Cleveland was like the best team at not striking out, I think, or one of them. Oh, no, they only ranked 13th. So I don't know, man. It's interesting, though. I think he can. I think he can get him. Also, what I would do, Blessed Up Pete, is look to see, who he got those strikeouts against and how those teams were at striking out, So looks like it was against Arizona and the Athletics, right? So the Athletics, they struck out the second most, or the Athletics ranked 26th in team strikeouts per game this season. So they strike out the 5th most. And then Arizona ranks 27th. Now, some of that might have to do because they played against Elder, but looks like those teams strike out a lot more than Cleveland does. They do more times per game, a lot more. So that would be the red flag for me. Not saying that I like it or dislike it, but Houston and Seattle. Houston has a lot of batters. I can't be on here too much longer, guys. Houston, they have a lot of batters, right, that are batting 280 or better against right-handed pitching. Seattle isn't they're not good against right-handed pitching in regards to batting average. I don't think they have anybody batting 250 or better. But here's the thing. Houston has the worst bullpen ERA in baseball right now. Seattle has the 3rd best. So maybe if I liked Houston today, I'd maybe look for like a first 5 or something like that. I don't want to have to rely on the Houston bullpen, considering they are the worst bullpen ERA. And they're getting good runs per game. Seattle's not. Houston ranks 2nd best in runs per game. Seattle ranks 2nd worst in runs per game. These are like 2 completely opposite teams. Houston, tough team to strike out. Seattle, they strike out quite often. Houston ranks 6th in team strikeouts per game. Seattle 27th. Houston good at drawing walks. Seattle average. So I would look to see, stolen bases. Both teams are about average in stolen bases. Both teams are above average in opponent stolen bases per game. I don't know. Like I said, I think I'd just probably look for maybe Houston first 5 or something in this one. I don't like playing first 5s often, but here's a spot where I would think about it. Rockies and Padres. the Rockies. They lost that heartbreaker last night, man. Let's bounce back tonight, boys. Man, and we need to get real comfortable playing San Diego, because pretty sure the Rockies have a series against San Diego, and then the Dodgers, and then it's back against San Diego. So we can't, just keep our head down, man. We got to hold our heads up tonight and try to come away with a win. I like how the Rockies are batting against right-handed pitching this season, specifically Rumfield, Johnston, Tovar, and Goodman. All of them are batting .268 or better against right-handed pitching. The only batter for the Padres who's batting .250 or better against right-handed pitching is Andujar, who's batting .368. The Rockies bullpen ranks 9th best in baseball. San Diego ranks 10th. Rockies offense scoring more runs per game than the Padres. We're stealing bases, guys. We're stealing bases, but we're still getting struck out. So if you like Buehler's strikeout props tonight, I could see that happening. We're not drawing walks. Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. Let me take a little bit of a commercial break. I gotta do something real quick, and then maybe I can be on here a little bit longer. Hold up. Please, one moment. Where are the commercials? 2-minute and 45-second commercial. I'll be right back.
Teaming up with BetUS, the sports book that lets you wager anywhere in the country.
And we're giving you a massive edge. Use promo code NOTMOVE when you sign up and get a 100% match on your first 3 deposits.
Plus, there's a 200% crypto bonus up to $2,750. Football, hoops, baseball, soccer, it's all in play.
Think you know sports? Ride with the underdog. Get in on pick'em or best ball. Make your moves and watch the games come alive. Play $5, get 100 instantly when you sign up with promo code NOTMOVED. Turn every drive, dunk, and homer into a payday. Download the Underdog Fantasy app and start winning.
Need some new Not Move drip? The In the Wickets hoodie just dropped. Super soft fleece, heavyweight feel, and the official NMP patch on the sleeve. Tap add to cart, check out, and let us handle the rest. In a couple days, it shows up at your door, ready to rock. Rep the podcast from the couch to the tail.
Oh, the Orphan Elimination Chamber tee just dropped. Fresh out the box. Look at this.
That print is nasty. Chainlink O silver hit. It's tough.
It's soft too, y'all. Fits right. Little drip for the Elimination Chamber weekend.
We rocking these all season.
If you're part of the Not Move fam, you already know.
Jump on it before it's
Grab
gone.
yours now at Not Move Shop.
Today's episode of Not Moved is brought to you by Open Goal, the world's #1 backyard goal. If you love soccer but hate chasing balls into the neighbor's yard, this thing is a game changer. Its rebound net sends missed shots right back to you, and the side nets keep your landscaping and your windows safe. It's perfect for kids, for training, or just having fun.
Today's episode of the Not Move podcast is brought to you by Walmart.com. With our storefront in the Walmart app, you can get everything you need, pick up or have it delivered.
We ordered dinner while recording and it showed up before we wrapped.
Better Good sweet corn and burrata ravioli.
Nuri protein drinks, even St. Patrick's Day treats.
Walmart.com.
Episode of the Not Move podcast is brought to you by the MLB Shop. They have every team's gear, from classic caps to World Baseball Classic hoodies, all official and all ready for game day. Tap the link in our bio to head straight to the shop and snag your favorite merch.
Basketball nights just got even bigger. With NMP and MyBookie, you can bet on every matchup, no matter where you live. Tap in, pick your spread, and watch the action unfold. Start wagering in every state with NMP and their sponsor, MyBookie.ag. Use promo code NOTMOVE for up to $125. The Not Move podcast is fueled by W Energy. Smooth, jitter-free focus and flavors that slap. Mango, berry, watermelon. Whatever gets you locked in, they've got it. Hit up W.GG, use promo code NOTMOVED, and snag 10% off your order. Stay not moved, stay energized.
Today's episode is brought to you by the NFL Pro Shop. If you want to rep your squad with fresh gear, this is where you get it.
Jerseys, hats, hoodies.
Even the sideline stuff. It's all there and it's all official. Hit the Not Move link in our bio. Gear up for
Right here on TikTok, the Not Move podcast presents you Southgate's Parlays. Break the bookies, not your bank. For just $9.99 a day or $49.99 a week, you get the daily fire picks delivered straight to your phone and a direct line to Southgate himself in our private Discord. Tap the link, grab your membership at NotMoveShop.
Not Move, fam. Southgate edition just landed and it's fire. Check the tee, watch out for the skis and the wickets. Hockey stick, cricket wickets, all vibes. We got hoodies, mugs, caps, beanies, whatever you need. Cop yours before they...
All right, we're back. I just want to look about that Rockies game yesterday. I want to look who the starting pitchers were.